Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, thank you. And why does the paper have to go over, ladies, and not under? Over's better. Guys don't care, right? I care. Over. Oh, God.
Over is the correct answer.
You're in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Josh Brisco, Beards. We head up until 2 o'clock. We've got you for the next 4 hours. Talk a lot of Chiefs football today. We'll hang out with KC Sports Network's Craig Stout coming up at 11 o'clock. We'll hear from the Chiefs around 11:45 or so. And we will play some sports or leisure later on in the show today. So a lot of stuff to get into. Jam-packed show. 913-912-4810 is the text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. 913-912-4810 text line to join us. Get into some of your texts throughout the show today. A couple of texts already coming in. But anyway, in fact, one text coming in that says... you guys have to talk about this today, which is the New Heights podcast. Patrick Mahomes telling the story of how he aced his whiteboard test with the Chiefs and Andy Reid, which we will absolutely get into.
Good
and talk
news,
about today.
everybody.
I've got news for you. I've got good news and bad news. Good news is we are going to play that. Bad news is, I don't know, when? Hopefully soon. Probably. It depends on if Josh just derails the show.
Well, listen. I wasn't planning on it, but now that you mention it.
Let's go ahead and derail this thing. Beards, you go ahead and get the Nobody Cares ready and just go ahead and just start playing that over and over again because I did want to just start with this real quick just as one of those good wins, good covers type deals.
Sure.
I know that nobody cares. Absolutely.
As long as I don't derail the show, this is going to be good. We're going to get right to this New Heights audio.
Not even in the slightest does anybody care. My same game parlay with Mexico and Saudi Arabia yesterday that we talked about. I had part of the same game parlay was both teams to score. And in the 7th minute of stoppage time, 90+7, Saudi Arabia scores. It wasn't deserving of winning it. But I won it, and I'm like, Mexico was already out anyway. At that point, they needed one more goal to be able to get in and finish second in the group stage. But Saudi Arabia gets that goal with 2 minutes to go in stoppage time. I'm like, nailed it! Never doubted it for a second. You know what that is? It's a win. Doesn't matter if there's a minute and a half to go in the game or not. It's a win. That's what that is.
So far, nothing but wins in the World Cup for your boy. We've got had the U.S. over Iran locked in, the little Mexico parlay, and currently $10 on the U.S. plus 20,000 to win the whole thing. So I mean, if that one lands,
good for you. You know what? Believe.
If that one lands, I'm buying us all lunch.
I hope so. Thank you for really going out of pocket for that. What are you going to get some gift cards back there just in case?
No, I mean, look, if this one cashes out.
There you go.
I'll buy something real nice straight out of my own pocket for us.
Do you think Tyler Adams, after the game was over, went to the Iran reporter and said, "Oh, hey, just so you know, it's not pronounced eliminated, it's pronounced eliminated. Have a good day."
I don't think he did do that. Since you asked, I bet he didn't. That's my official answer.
He probably didn't. He's probably got too much class to do that.
I probably would not bleep with Iran at this point.
What about that reporter specifically?
I would not bleep with that reporter either.
I wouldn't bleep with state media.
That's right. Generally speaking, I would not tend to bleep with state media.
That's right. All right, 913-912-4810. Let's get into the show if you want to be a part of it. 913-912-4810. Craig Stout coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. Chiefs at 11:45 or so, and then sports or leisure. So let's start with the Justin Reid comments from yesterday. And we start there because I think it's a common misunderstanding or just ignorance, which there's nothing wrong with being ignorant. It's just lack of knowledge. I'm ignorant to a lot of things, mainly, soccer strategy. That's not the main thing. One thing is soccer strategy. There's a lot of things I'm ignorant to. But, I think it might just be ignorance of what goes on in an NFL scout, the prep, the game plan, and how very rare names are used as opposed to numbers. That it is just a numbers discussion for the most part. Unless, of course, Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or things like that, or Brady, maybe even when it comes to those, they're saying number 12. Well, when 12's going to take a 3-step drop, and look, 15, when 15 gets out of the pocket, you've got to be prepared for this, and this. The way you rush 15 is this way. It may be the exact same, but let's hear Justin Reid's comments. That's the first thing I wanted to say, just because of, I think that's a good preface for what comes from these comments about the Bengals and what happened last year versus what he feels like he can accomplish and be a part of this year. Take a listen.
The big-time like some of the missed tackles, explosive plays, a lot of it's going to come down to making the play on the ball, and they have 88, Higbee. No, it's not Higbee was with the Rams. What's his name? It is Higgins. It's Higgins. Higbee and Higgins. They're going to have him back. He's a very talented receiver, too. More of a finesse type of guy. Not the best blocker. I'm going to lock him down, straight up. We're going to have to come out of the game, like I said, play our best game and go out and do it.
By the way, credit PJ Green, Fox 4, for the video there that has made its way all over the internet and made its way to Jamar Chase and Justin Reid, a little back and forth on Twitter. So there's that. And let me just say, if this was if we were doing a show in Cincinnati, I think we might be discussing this the way that we were with Shaq Barrett, the way that we were with Simmons, Jeremy Simmons. Justin Simmons. I don't know who Jeremy Simmons is.
I'll figure out if that's a person or not. Justin Simmons plays for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Jeffrey. The defensive tackle for the Titans. Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey whatever.
Jeffrey Simmons is the defensive tackle. Justin Simmons plays for the Broncos.
Broncos safety.
Jeffrey Simmons plays for the Titans.
Okay.
We got there. Both real players the Chiefs either have or will play this year.
That's right. But the comments from Shaq Barrett and the comments from Jeffrey Simmons went out and backed him up. Shaq Barrett did not. I think we would be viewing it that way if the roles were flipped. But, and you know what, maybe I would also offer that he's talking about Hayden Hurst. He then went and clarified on Twitter that he was talking about Hayden Hurst. He said number 88. And I see the reaction from a lot of people like, hold on, he's going to lock somebody down and he doesn't even know who he's locking down. He doesn't even know the name or who's there, who's not. I think he was talking about whoever 88 is as the tight end.
That's called confidence.
That's right. I don't even care who it is. I'm locking them down. Number 88. And he said Higbee, but it was Hurst. It started with an A. I knew it started with an H, though. Samsonite. Way off. So he says 88. He knows who he's talking about. And then it's Higbee, no. And then I think it was PJ Green that said, not Higgins. You're not talking about Higgins because he knew he was talking about a tight end. Number 88. Not Higgins, number 85. And he goes, no, it's Higgins. And I think Justin Reid still was talking about 88. Still was talking about Hayden Hurst. And then he said number 2 is more of a finesse guy, not a great blocker. I think he then goes back to say, I'm going to lock him down, number 88. Do you think he's talking about 2 and 85 and 88 on the Bengals offense? Or is he talking specific tight end? That's his matchup. Because I don't see him guarding Jamar Chase and T. Higgins very often. I see him probably guarding Hurst and Samaje Perine out of the backfield whenever it's called upon.
No, I think that this is a relatively sort of straightforward guy using the numbers and the names getting mixed up. Again, when you think about how Justin Reid gets used in this defense and who he's likely to be covering. Way more likely to be covering, as you said, a tight end or a running back than he is to be split out wide with T. Higgins or anybody. So you hear the clip. The rest of the Twitter thread, where Justin Reid first clarifies himself and then adds to it, and then what happened after that? But Reid himself says, when you TBH, I meant Hayden Hurst for the man matchups, quote, nonetheless, any and everybody still getting locked up.
That is true.
He doesn't care who you think he's talking about based on this tweet. I do think that he meant Hayden Hurst throughout that process, but then it kept going. I'll let you keep setting it up if you'd like.
Well, and so I think the reaction is, or what I've seen is that, okay, he doesn't even know who he's. Nice film work.
That is not the reaction that I had to it, nor is it the reaction that I've seen. So I think there are levels to this one.
Okay, very good. So I've seen that reaction, and I've also seen him that people are saying he was calling Hayden Hurst soft. That Hayden Hurst is a finesse player that's not a good blocker, while Jamar Chase is the guy he specifically, and T. Higgins, that he's going to lock up. Those guys specifically. Whereas I think he's saying Jamar Chase is a soft blocker, that he's a finesse guy, not a good blocker, which is probably true. Higgins, good receiver. Hayden Hurst is the guy that he's going to then lock up. But you're right. He then goes and says, it doesn't matter. We're locking. Everybody's getting locked down. All right, everybody's getting locked down. It's going to be different than a year ago. What happens in these situations is when you mention names or numbers specifically, I think it definitely changes the conversation, especially with players. Because Jamar Chase, a couple of days ago, was talking about, his health and everything, and said it doesn't matter the health and all that. I'll beat anybody in the league. There's nobody that can guard me in the league. Well, if he said number 5 for the Rams can't guard me in the league. Oh, he just called out Jalen Ramsey. Mm-hmm. But he did call out Jalen Ramsey by saying nobody in the league can guard me. That includes you, Jalen Ramsey, and it includes Justin Reed and Trent McDuffie and whoever else that's out there for the Chiefs or the Titans or anybody. You name a cornerback, nobody can guard me, which, by the way, every top receiver probably feels that way. And every cornerback feels like they're going to go and lock somebody down. It's a matter of saying it. It's a matter of mentioning names. And it's a good point at the end where it doesn't matter. Everybody's getting locked down. I don't think Justin Reed is saying, I'm going to lock everybody down. I'm going to be all over the field like there's going to be 5 of me out there. But this is interpret it the way you want. If you're on the Bengals side, you interpret it as saying, he said Hayden Hurst is soft and he's going to lock down Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
I think that's just not paying very close attention.
No, but it doesn't matter if it's paying close attention or not. It's viewing it as, well, he said that, therefore that's the way it's going to be viewed in Cincinnati too. I mean, in the locker room. Because Jamar Chase viewed it that way. As in you do the Twitter back and forth with Jamar Chase and Justin Reed if you can.
So Reed tweets, TBH meant Hayden Hurst for the man matchups. Nonetheless, any and everybody's still getting locked up.
That's right.
First, I noticed this one just today. Tyler Boyd responds with a crying, laughing emoji and a skunk emoji.
Okay.
And then Jamar Chase says, let's put some money on it, big time. Eye emojis. Justin Reed says, and this goes back to a conversation we've had some version of many times this year. Justin Reed tweets, y'all welcome for the extra motivation. Mm-hmm. I'm a see you Sunday champ. Jamar Chase responds, tuna in a can, cat emoji. Justin Reed responds, noted, with the, kind of leaning back, nodding emoji, and the little hand taking a note emoji in the GIF, the nodding GIF. This is the Twitter back and forth between one of the best receivers in football and Justin Reed, who hasn't even played the Bengals as a Chief yet, by the way.
Right.
He was not here for the thing that has apparently given the Chiefs all the motivation leading up to this game. Reed said in that same interview where he said he was going to lock him down, we mentioned yesterday, he said that it was one of the games they had most circled on the. Actually, I think it was. He said it was the most circled game on the calendar
of the 3
of the Titans and Bengals and Bills games.
Right.
He said especially Cincinnati. When he wasn't even here for that, which I just think is interesting because he's getting that via osmosis. I think it's more interesting to look at. Even these guys are playing both sides of the bulletin board material thing. Because we talked yesterday about how Chris Jones doesn't want to give Joe Burrow any credit. Well, usually the Chiefs give you all the credit, so you can't take bulletin board material. And now Justin Reed is like, I've never seen this side of Justin Reed in his time in Kansas City so far.
Yeah, me either.
This is a new flavor from him. I'm getting a little worried about just maybe Kansas City Chiefs safeties, just like what that does to your Twitter habits. I'm a little bit. He's nowhere near there yet. It's okay. I'm just saying. I'm just noticing out in advance.
I would maybe suggest maybe you don't tweet something, subtweeting or not
Justin
about
Reed
Justin Reed.
If Justin Reed bounces off of Joe Burrow and then after the game tweets about having a broken thumb, I will not. I'll just keep it to myself.
God, let's hope Justin Reed doesn't bounce off Joe Burrow.
He's no Taylor Heineke, so I guess
that's true.
There's deep cut. But I've just never seen this from Justin Reed. You rarely see this from the Chiefs. And Reed even says, you're welcome for the extra motivation. Like, oh, bulletin board material? We don't need that. When twice this year we've talked about the bulletin board material the Chiefs have gotten and taken. So my lesson on that front is that no one has a consistent opinion on what is and isn't motivating. It's totally about what you want to believe in that situation. I think that's funny. Tuna in a can and that Twitter thread. Little spice to this game. We have not seen anything quite like this leading up to this season.
Well, and I think it also goes to show that, players do look at bulletin board material because we talked about it from what the Chiefs were doing with Shaq Barrett and Jeffrey Simmons, that what they said. They took note of it. They talked about it after the game was over. They talked about it before the game even was played. So the players also have some of this. Look, you're an NFL player. You got some pride. You got some confidence. You got some belief in yourself. You don't make it to the NFL by being meek and just like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll get it done. Maybe I won't.
Reed also kind of makes fun of him for like needing extra motivation. Everyone's playing both sides of it.
For sure. You can have the extra motivation. That's great. If that's what you need, essentially.
Exactly, right.
If you need that. But the Chiefs have also gone that route with the Bucs and the Titans of saying, oh, okay, really? So then did they need the extra motivation for those games? I don't think they did. This is a game that's going to be, whether Jamar Chase is hearing from Justin Reed or Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins, Burrow's still going to have to make the throw. Those guys still have to be open or, make a play whether they're open or not. And, that all still has to happen on the field because the Chiefs then got a chance to go up against Jeffrey Simmons, and he backed up his words. So it wasn't they're pissed. And guess what? Jeffrey Simmons, that was dumb because I hope you enjoy getting double teamed and pancaked, and they're going to make sure they know where you are on the field. Yeah. Difference is Justin Reed is not to the safety what Jeffrey Simmons is to defensive tackle. So if you're Justin Reed, is there a little bit of kind of speaking out of turn when it's you weren't on the team a year ago? It's one thing to say, here's what I saw from last year. I saw some guys that were out of position. I saw some missed tackles. I'm going to make sure I do what I can that's going to be taken care of. My responsibility, what my job is, it's going to be locked down. I'm going to do what I got to do, that I'm going to take care of business, that's not going to happen this go around if I have something to say about it. That's where he started with. It was we saw guys out of position, guys missing tackles, which is true. Because two of the biggest plays in the games were by either laziness or a missed tackle, or both. The Jamar Chase catch and long run in the first matchup, where it was, that guy's going to make the tackle, so I'll just barely give effort. Well, that guy's going to make the tackle, so I'll barely give effort. Well, that guy's going to make the tackle, so I'll barely give effort. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait, it's me. Now I need to start running. You watch that Jamar Chase one again where he catches it, weaves, and then cuts up in the middle of the field. The amount of players that were jogging and then thought, oh, wait, now I got to run. Now I got to get there. We talked about Jeffrey Simmons with the, we're talking about him a lot. With the Titans and Mahomes' 20-yard run. That Simmons was sort of dogging it. And then, oh, wait, now I'm in the play. I got to run. That's what happened on that Jamar Chase play. There were a number of guys that didn't think they needed to be a part of it, and then all of a sudden they did. That's laziness, and also the inability to get there if you're not going to be busting your butt because you're not fast enough. And the Samaje Perine screen pass that resulted in a 40-plus yard touchdown in the AFC Championship game was Charvarius Ward giving the weakest effort I've seen in that entire game. It was a reach. It was kind of a, well, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Not respecting the breaking news at all.
Hey, you're supposed to just break into what I'm saying.
Well, I was going to cut you off. Ken Rosenthal tweets that the Royals are hiring Brian Sweeney as their new pitching coach, sources tell The Athletic. Sweeney, a former Major League pitcher with the Padres and Mariners, had been a coach with the Guardians since 2018 and their bullpen coach since 20. Annie Rogers of MLB.com tweets that she's confirmed the same thing. Again, Sweeney's been the Guardians bullpen coach since 2020. Team announcement expected to come later today, according to Annie Rogers.
Okay. Did Quattrero and Sweeney overlap in Cleveland? That's the position he's been in since 2020, but how long?
He had been a coach with the Guardians since 2018, per Rosenthal.
Okay, so then Quattrero would have overlapped a little
I don't
bit.
remember Quattrero's exact year in and year out, but
You don't. How would you not remember that?
I know.
Why would you not know that, idiot?
I'll work on it.
Matt Quattrero was in. Well, no, they didn't. He was only in Cleveland until 2017.
Yep.
So he was in Tampa in 2018. So maybe they overlapped somewhere else. I don't know. As soon as you said Cleveland Guardians, my first thought is this regime now going Cleveland and Tampa the way that Dayton went Atlanta? Everything was Atlanta-based for Dayton. Is this now everything going to be Guardian and Ray-based? I don't know. We'll find out. So there's the pitching coach. Don't know much about him except for he shares a name with Mike Sweeney, a last name with Mike Sweeney. All right, 913-912-4810. There's the Justin Reed conversation. We'll see if it has any impact whatsoever on the game on Sunday. But when we come back, I do want to hear from the New Heights podcast. The fun story of Patrick Mahomes and how he cheated his way to acing the test on the whiteboard with Andy Reid. Also, him talking about laying on the ground and seeing his kneecap in the back of his leg. That and a nickname for Justin Watson. That's now out there. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from that. Craig Stout coming up at 11 o'clock. Chiefs press conference is 11:45. Sports and Leisure 1 o'clock. More Zone next.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. You're in the zone with Jason Anderson.
To be honest, I didn't even know who Jason Anderson was.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson, Josh Brisco, and Beards heading up until 2 o'clock. Craig Stout coming up at 11 o'clock. So Royals have a pitching coach that they have hired, Brian Sweeney from the Cleveland Guardians. You've got something to add to that, Josh?
I do.
Okay.
Maybe the most important fact of, frankly, 2022 for the Royals, perhaps. I have a fact for you about new Royals pitching coach Brian Sweeney. He pitched in the majors for a few years, pitched internationally briefly as well. And in 2007, Brian Sweeney pitched for the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters.
Shut up.
Under manager Trey Hillman. They overlapped for 1 year, but the new Royals pitching coach played for Trey Hillman for the Nippon Ham Fighters.
Well, I think he needs to be asked if Trey Hillman ever played any of his Christmas songs for him.
We need every Trey Hillman story. His opening presser just needs to be nothing but what did you learn about Trey Hillman during your one season together?
That 1 year that you shared with him, did Trey Hillman walk around thinking he was a Major League Baseball manager while managing the Ham Fighters? What is a ham fighter? Do you enjoy ham?
That's a good question. I really like how you emphasized fighters there.
What is a ham fighter? Is that somebody that fights for ham?
Oh,
because I would be a ham fighter when it comes to Thanksgiving. I am turkey is dry and it's overrated, and we only have it on Thanksgiving because if it was that good, we'd have it more often. And I am team ham on Thanksgiving, so I am a ham fighter.
Yes, that's the correct take.
Yes,
yeah,
I'm a ham
However,
fighter.
in this situation, I think it's somebody that fights hams.
Okay.
Well, I think, but here's the thing. If you are eating ham, you are stabbing it with a knife, cutting it, and stabbing it with a fork, and then chewing it up. You're kind of fighting that ham a little bit.
No, I'm imagining like fist fight.
Yeah. Well, I am doing that when I'm fighting turkey to try to, chew through it and cut through it and try to gnaw on it, drench it in gravy just so it's not just dry and takes up all of the saliva in your mouth. So I don't know. It's a ham fighter, turkey fighter.
We need a minor league baseball team to name themselves the Pig Punchers. Oh, yeah. Because that's what I feel like it should loosely translate to. I'm pretty sure that's not how it works, but...
Yeah, that's the exact same. 913-912-4810 is the text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. All right, so let's hear from Patrick Mahomes. This is a fun story as to, Mahomes has been credited for having one of the best whiteboard interviews that these different coaches have talked about. One being who is Bruce Arians. Mm-hmm. Sean Payton has talked about it. Bill O'Brien talked about it. Andy Reid has talked about it. So here's Patrick Mahomes and the New Heights. Okay.
Oh, really?
Wow. All right.
Nippon Ham is a conglomerate company that owns them. So it is the Nippon Ham Space Fighters.
Right. But is Nippon Ham a company that sells ham?
Great question.
Food processing, so I am assuming so.
Oh, hey, really? That's shocking.
That was the first part of that when I said
I don't know.
Okay, I missed food processing.
It could have been a company that just goes crazy all the time.
Anyway.
We're just going ham.
There we go.
So here's Patrick Mahomes.
We need to start nipping on that bud.
Here's Patrick Mahomes, who apparently went ham on the whiteboard interview with Andy Reid. But here's how he was able to ace that test in Kansas City with Andy Reid.
The first day that I met Coach Reid was at the facility. We had the meetings, the top 30 visits, and so that was the first time I really met him. At that time there was no time limit, so I was in there for 5 hours. He's just going through plays, and I'm just going to give you all the inside scoop. Matt Nagy, who was our quarterback coach now, was the offensive coordinator then. He really liked me, so he gave me the plays they were going to go over the night before. So Coach Reid's finding out here live on New Heights podcast.
Oh my God!
And so
Nagy,
he gave you answers to the test. Let's go.
And so so of course I crushed the meeting. I stayed up all night studying those plays, and so
man, this kid is locked in. We got ourselves a winner here.
And so the rest was history, man. I met Coach Reed. He went over the plays. We went and had some lunch.
Dude, that's
he had a couple cheeseburgers, and then we went back, and I went back on the board, and I seemed like I was a guru in a sense because I knew every single play and every check.
Matt Nagy helping Patrick Mahomes cheat. No wonder Mahomes and Nagy have a great relationship. No wonder Mahomes was pumped that Nagy was coming back to Kansas City.
And then Nagy left to go coach the team that drafted Mitch Trubisky. He couldn't have been happy about that because I don't think he did that for Mitch Trubisky's pre-draft interview with the Chiefs. I assume they had him. I don't know. Did they have him in on one?
I don't know that they did. I'm not sure.
It was pretty obvious he was going like top 5. So maybe they didn't.
So did anybody in Arizona help out Patrick Mahomes? Did anybody in New Orleans help out Patrick Mahomes in this interview? Because he aced those as well. That's fascinating.
It is so good. I wonder, I'm guessing someone will ask Andy Reid about this soon now that it's out there. I wonder if this is one of those things where Matt Nagy tells Andy Reid, hey, listen, I'm going to do this. And we're going to just pretend that you didn't know that I was doing this, and we're going to see what the kid does with it. I wonder if I would not be surprised. I just want to plant this seed. I would not be surprised if Andy Reid gets asked about that on Friday and he goes something along the lines of, "Yeah, Matt and I had a plan, and funny that got out there. It was a good few hours."
What we found out about Patrick Mahomes is that he works his tail off. That's what we found out about him is that he studies and he's able to retain the information and then use it when asked about it. Whether he was cramming for the test or not. What we found out is that he got the answers, and then he made sure he committed those answers to memory.
Exactly.
Or Matt Nagy's like, man, I don't get it. Why doesn't Andy Reid see what we're seeing in this quarterback?
It's one of those two things.
What do we do? What do we do here, Brett? What do we do? Let's give him the answers. Let's give him the answers to the test because we know he's good enough to do this. This is the greatest, prospect we've ever seen. How do we do this? Let's give them all the answers to the test. Okay, let's do it. Andy, what'd you think about that? Huh? That was pretty good, right? This is the best I've ever seen. I can't believe how smart this guy is. I'm on board. Guys, let's do it. Let's do it.
Either way, it is such a stroke of hilarious genius that it just made me so happy to hear that this morning. And also, every single person in Kansas City needs to recalibrate how they view Matt Nagy if the story is true as Patrick Mahomes tells it. And also, when we have talked in the past about Matt Nagy, it is that he will be the next offensive coordinator of this team. And depending on how long Andy Reid coaches, Matt Nagy's he's going to be a head coach again somewhere. And I don't think that him being the head coach in Kansas City in 5 years or whatever is some crazy unrealistic thing. And if you heard that a couple of, a few months ago even, you might have balked at it. If Matt Nagy really went rogue on this, I am suddenly so team Matt Nagy, it's impossible.
It reminds me a little bit of, I've told this story before, that Lamar Thomas went to the same high school as Lamar Jackson. And all these teams in the SEC were recruiting Lamar Jackson as, shocker, a wide receiver or a safety or a cornerback or athlete.
As a safety, man.
Things like that, right? So he was just going to be an athlete is how he was recruited. He only wanted to play quarterback. So Lamar Thomas is talking to Bobby Petrino and saying, hey, we got this quarterback that, I got a relationship with him. Take a look. And he shows Bobby Petrino the highlight reel. And Bobby Petrino goes, yeah, that's an athlete. That's not a quarterback. That's a guy we'll recruit him as an athlete. Well, you're not going to get him if you do that. So Lamar Thomas went back to Lamar's family in high school and said, only cut up throwing the ball. No running, no juking guys, no jumping, none of that. Just throwing the ball. Lamar Thomas and the lead recruiter go back to Bobby Petrino and say, okay, we found another guy. All right, so this is a guy, he's down in Florida as well, but similar to the previous guy, but this guy is a quarterback and shows him the highlights and everything, and he's like, okay, who is it? Same guy. And Bob, let's go get him. Let's get him.
That's good stuff.
We have to have this guy. And if that's the case, if Andy Reid was somehow not convinced that Patrick Mahomes was that dude, and Matt Nagy and Brett, how do we do this? What do we do? Let's give him the answers to the test.
That's incredible.
Let's let him cheat. But it's amazing, all these stud coaches that are like, nah, that guy's an athlete. He'll never play quarterback. And he's an NFL MVP. And playing quarterback.
The moral of that story being Lamar Jackson was too good of an athlete that it distracted from his still excellent traditional quarterbacking ability.
Yeah. In high school and in college, like even if people don't think he's got excellent quarterbacking ability and throwing the ball in the NFL, That's in the NFL.
Sure,
now imagine
right.
in high school and college and things like that. So, that's it's. And by the way, Patrick Mahomes wasn't recruited by everybody. That's why he ended up at Texas Tech, because what did Texas want him as a safety? And they also recruited Johnny Manziel as a safety to Texas. So those stories are great, and we see some of these guys in the NFL now that have made it, Todd Lebo this morning was talking about with Anthony Sherman the number of Chiefs players and number of players in the NFL that are just, weren't highly touted guys that are now studs in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, 3-star guy. Travis Kelce, 3-star guy. Like, there are some guys that were, okay, this is a can't-miss player. But there are also a number of guys that are, in the NFL that are 2- and 3-star guys. Josh Williams was Division II. Jalen Watson was Division I, Power 5, but a 7th rounder. So not this guy's going to be in college and be a can't-miss type guy. So 913-912-4810. One of the other things that they talked about when they finally got Patrick Mahomes on as a guest there in New Heights was let's go to the quarterback sneak and the kneecap story that we all remember, and everybody's heart was in their throat and was offering their kneecaps to Patrick Mahomes. Take mine. Here is Patrick Mahomes telling the story about what happened and, running quarterback sneaks or not.
I mean, I'm like 95% and one kneecap short of being 100%. Dude, so I mean, I believe in the quarterback sneak as well, but just sometimes you got to watch out for your kneecaps.
You got to tell. You got to tell it from your side of the view.
After watching that quarterback sneak, I think it makes a ton of sense that you don't do quarterback sneaks.
Yeah,
I think you're a little bit more valuable. Let's have Noah Gray come in here and do this quarterback sneak.
Well, I will say, I know y'all have talked about it before, but it was a third down in Denver, I believe, maybe a fourth down, and I got the first down, and he fell on my knee, and I remember being on the ground and just looking at it, and my kneecap was in the side of my calf, and I didn't know what to do, so I just froze up. And the worst part was the reaction from every teammate I have. Guys usually kind of push you up. I had dudes running 50 yards away from me, just running down to the other side of the field. But, that was luckily.
Nobody's offering support.
No.
Hey, man, it's going to be like, oh, my God.
Austin Ryder's
my center's yelling, get off me. Get off me. Get off me. I'm like, can't move. I can't move. What do you want me to do? My kneecap is in the back of my leg. So what am I supposed to do?
Can't move.
What am I supposed to do?
Get up. Can't move. Can't move. What do you want me to do? Can't move. I remember, was it Kelce that threw his helmet?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. They never talked about that part around the story, I don't think. Because
the reaction, everybody walking away, somebody turned around and threw their helmet on the ground, that it was there's our season. This is done. This Super Bowl aspirations. We lost in the AFC Championship game in overtime last year, and now the reigning MVP is laying on the ground with his kneecap in the back of his leg. I thought it was Kelce, and that was when I got really scared. Was when you saw the reaction of the teammates, that it was like, okay, this is bad. This is bad. They're mad. They're upset, and they're showing it on the field. But that is so great. Everybody just runs away from him. It's like, oh, no. He's 95% success rate because they were talking about what Jalen Hurts is 100%.
Well, and Jason Kelce is on a warpath of, hey, we should quarterback sneak more, like how highly successful.
Well, he's got Jalen Hurts. I mean,
across the league, even they've talked about it some. I think, right?
Yeah.
He's a center, so he likes snap it and follow me kind of thing.
Yeah, Hurts is 100% in quarterback sneaks and picking up a first down, and Patrick Mahomes saying, I'm 95% and a kneecap away. So 95% and a kneecap away from being 100% in quarterback sneaks. Again, it goes back to, will they ever quarterback sneak it again with Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. Why do you need to quarterback sneak it with Patrick Mahomes when you've got a Noah Gray or a Travis Kelce or whoever else that might be able to do it? Because it's sort of the same thing. They know it's, the only time you do that is because they have said they're not going to do it with Patrick Mahomes. If it is the Super Bowl and it's 4th and a half yard, then yeah, quarterback sneak it. Get behind Patrick Mahomes, push him, do that thing that we're seeing now with all these different strategies and quarterback sneaks. Do that, pick up the first down and catch him off guard. And then don't do it again. Because I'm good with them not quarterback sneaking with Patrick Mahomes because they've done it with Noah Gray and Blake Bell and Travis Kelce. Makes sense. I'd rather them do that on 3rd and short and 4th and short than the handoff to Michael Burton up the middle, which is clearly being sniffed out. that thing was also 100%. And now it's like one of its last 4. Only because we talked about it being 100%. That's never been stopped. Michael Burton has the exact same number of carries as first downs gained in his career with the Chiefs. It is 100%. No wonder they keep doing it. And then, of course, that's the old broadcaster jinx, right? This guy's never missed a field goal inside 30 yards, and then he does, of course. He's made 17 straight free throws.
Some more minor Royals news here. They've also announced the hire of Jose Alguacil as the infield coach, in addition to Brian Sweeney. He played in the minors for a while, most recently with the Nationals, I believe. First base coach for the Giants for a bit before that. So a couple hires there on Matt Quattro's staff today.
Also played for the Nippon Ham Fighters.
I don't know. I've not been able to verify that one yet.
Okay. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next.
Follow the show on Twitter at J810Anderson, at JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, and at Sports Radio 810. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Got 18 reps in the bench.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll hang out with Craig Stout coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll hear from the Chiefs at about 11:45 or so, and then Sports or Leisure today. So there's some Twitch comments that are trying to have Beards play the role of Matt Nagy.
There are a couple people trying to get me to be Matt Nagy here. Jokes on them. I don't actually have the questions yet, so I can't give you. I'm sorry.
It's good. I have jokes on them as well because I haven't come up with about half the questions already. I've got notes for some of the questions, but I will be working on them at the in commercial breaks. So.
I do. It's not Trey Hillman related as it was for Brian Sweeney, but I do have a Jose Alguacil factoid, courtesy of Royals Review on Twitter.
He played for the Turkey Fighters.
He comes over from the Nationals, also worked with the Giants as a coach and minor league manager. Was once hit in the face by a Hunter Dozier line drive that broke his nose, so that could be awkward. Again, via Royals Review on Twitter.
Okay. Let's see if Hunter Dozier ever plays infield again.
Listen.
He's the infield coach, right?
Yes.
So, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't need Hunter Dozier near my infield.
Two birds, one stone here.
Here's the thing, Skip, Matt, Coach Quattrero, manager. I don't need Dozier on the dirt anytime soon, all right? Get his ass out there in the grass playing with the Dandelions. Or trade his ass. I don't care. One of the two. Trade him or put him in the outfield. Done with that guy.
This is all part of the ploy.
It's a good note.
To adjust the lineup by grudges and accidental acts of violence.
Playing the long game.
That's exactly right. By the way, Lukaku for Belgium has missed 3 pretty much
really good opportunities. Is that
in the World Cup? Kind of easier opportunities and chances.
As good as it gets in the World Cup for the most part.
He has missed three prime chances to put a goal and to move Belgium on. Belgium right now is tied with Croatia. If this stays a tie, Belgium does not advance. They need to beat Croatia. And
they got it! He got another shot at it!
Yeah, but that one was
that was a lot more difficult.
That was tougher.
My goodness! Belgium has been in the box the last 5 minutes. It feels like maybe longer.
He had a strike that hit off the post. He had a header that hit off the crossbar. And he had one that he could have headed it in. Instead, he tried to, control it with his chest and then drop it in front of him and then score the goal. But it was too hard of a touch, and it bounced away from him, and Croatia cleared. He's had 3 opportunities that if he heads that one, it's in. Instead, he tried to go the chest and control it, and didn't work out. So there you go. There's your update. There's your soccer update. Also, Morocco is up 2-1 on Croatia, or on Canada.
On Canada, yeah.
Morocco would move on along with Croatia in Group F. So it would be Morocco and Croatia unless Belgium wins.
I mean, at least they've still got the waffles, but that's about it at this point, man. This is the last 5 minutes of watching Belgium almost advance. The shots of the fans in the stands, their face painted, looking like like their life is in the balance.
Honestly, it's been almost the whole game that Belgium has been pretty much in Croatia territory, just peppering the goalkeeper with shots, or the actual goal itself with shots, and it is not falling. The results yesterday were fascinating because it came down to the last few minutes of Mexico and Poland and Argentina and trying to advance and goal differential and sportsmanship with yellow cards that Mexico was going to be eliminated on for Poland. While it was a fun end, it didn't exactly work out great for the United States, because if the United States beats the Netherlands on Saturday, they're probably going to get Argentina in the round of 8.
Oh, that'll be easy.
Well, look, guys. I mean, here's my honest perspective on this.
Yeah, please.
If we start looking ahead for the U.S. men's national team, we are going to miss what's happening right in front of us. If they get through Netherlands, They could play Alabama in the next round, and I'd be feeling okay about it because let's just take what we can get.
Says the guy that put the money on the U.S. to win.
I did that before the Iran game.
Yes.
Great odds on DraftKings.
Belgium and Croatia
I'm probably
final 0-0.
I'm probably going to hedge pretty soon, by the way. Oh!
Belgium has been eliminated. Croatia has moved on. And if Morocco holds on to the 2-1 lead they have with only a minute to play, they will win the group stage.
Come on! They
Poor
just
guy.
cut to the stands, and it's cruel because you could tell he's going through it. But it was a bald fellow with a beard, his face painted black, yellow, and red in the Belgium colors, but he's also wearing a little red, like, sort of skull cap with horns on it, so he looks like a little demon of some sort, doing the surrender cobra. I mean, it's just... It's just sports, man.
It's sports. The tough part of sports is to see Lukaku on his knees, hands in his face, and crying and distraught that he had 3 opportunities to put 1 in the back of the net, and Belgium advances, and he was 0 for 3.
No, that I have a much easier time sort of chuckling at the light misfortune of fans than I do the actual players, because that's his life for the next 4 years. I don't know how old he is, but I mean, could be the rest of his
4 years, 8 years, 12 years.
The rest of his life will, at least in Belgium, be partially marred by the guy who had opportunities and couldn't score on them.
All he needed was 1. He was 0 for 3 in prime opportunities.
Yeah, that's
Morocco and Croatia move on. Canada and Belgium. I don't know what the odds are.
Belgium had to be favored to get through that, right?
Right. I don't know what the odds were before, but I would guess Belgium was the favorite in that to move on. Was that one of them where it was
Croatia was the favorite,
okay.
And then Morocco and Belgium had similar odds.
Oh, okay.
Looks like. Yeah. Or I can't read a chart.
Like I said, Croatia probably was the favorite. I don't know.
Well, these numbers I'm looking at here don't make any sense, so find out what the Group F rankings were next.
In 2 hours.
The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Or can he actually go through a... Sorry. I'm getting choked up about this Patriots dynasty being over.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, welcome back here in the Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB on this Thursday edition of the show, heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll hear from the Chiefs later on this hour. Right now, let's talk some Chiefs football with Craig Stout, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Craig, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, I am great. It's Bengals week, the biggest regular season game of the year. I am so excited to be moving on from the Rams, moving on to the Bengals.
That's right. I'm looking forward to this week, but I do have to start with this. That how did BJ get chosen to hang out with Kay Adams and you and Matt and Kent, me, Josh, Beards? None of us, nobody else did.
You know, I think it's funny because Kay Adams, we do know, is an avid podcast listener for local podcasts. We do know that. We listen to some of our old stuff as well. So there's a connection there for sure. I just assumed that they picked the prettiest human that we had on the roster and went with that guy because BJ clearly is that dude. Yeah, I think it's so awesome that he got to be on Kay Adams, got to do all of that, got to preview the Bengals. I hope we get to see him on there a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be great. Craig Stout is our guest. I'll be looking forward to when the invite goes your way, Craig. I mean, that's maybe spread the love, BJ. That's what I'm saying. Maybe let other people, get a little shine. All right, so you mentioned glad we're done with the Rams, on to the Bengals, and we joked about it on Monday that I'm like, I don't even know that I want to break down the Rams game because I'm just ready for this Bengals game coming up this weekend. What's your anticipation level like for this game on Sunday?
Oh, it's super high. Maybe not as high as it is for the actual Chiefs players right now and how everything's kind of going in the media, but it is super high to see the measuring stick. The Bengals have certainly come into their own a lot more over the past several weeks. Not that they were bad, but without Jamar Chase, they were a little bit different beast. And they've started to find other ways to move the ball on offense. Now they get to add Chase. This is a heavyweight matchup. I mean, this is one of those that is going to play a significant factor in the AFC playoff race. The Bengals basically play all of the top teams to finish out the year here. They have a murderer's row of opponents. So if the Chiefs can take the Bengals down here, Bengals can start picking off other teams. This is such an important game for the shape of the AFC playoffs, for the shape of what we expect from this Chiefs team. And honestly, they kind of need to get over the hump a little bit. And, you lose 3 times to this Bengals team, all of a sudden they're going to start to feel a little bit like a boogeyman.
One thing that's interesting too is, we talk about this game and Cincinnati still has a chance to be the number 1 seed. If the Bengals win and the Chiefs lose, they're 1 game behind the Chiefs and the tiebreaker, and they still play the Bills. So they would be able to take care of business there. They still play the Ravens. They can take care of business and get that, loss that they already have on their record back from earlier this year. So they've got a chance to take care of business. The flip side is, Craig, that if the Chiefs beat the Bengals this weekend, Bengals are 7-5, and New England's playing Buffalo. Chargers, they've got a matchup this weekend, a big one as well. Who do the Chargers play? They play the Raiders this weekend. The flip side of, hey, they could still be the number 1 seed is there's a chance because of the schedule the remaining way for the Bengals that they may not even make the playoffs. Like, this can go a long way to say, like, the Chiefs don't even have to worry about them in January if that's the case. It's the last part of the season for Cincinnati and the teams they play and how the playoff structure will look. It'll go a long way to the team, the Bengals, as opposed to the Chiefs, because after this week, the schedule lightens up. Very, very great for the Chiefs. But the Bengals have so many different variations that they could end up with, from the number 1 seed to not even in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think at this point you would look at the Bengals as being one of the AFC's best teams, and the fact that they could miss out on it because they do still have Tampa Bay, who I'm not writing off yet. I know that they are a sub-500 team, but I've seen that team play well enough, at least on defense, to cause problems. They've got them still on the schedule. They got a divisional game against Cleveland. They should win. But at New England, Buffalo, Baltimore to close out the year, they lose to the Chiefs. There are a potential 3 or 4 more losses on the schedule for them. This means so much to the Bengals. They need this to stay on pace and to stay on track because they don't have a shot at the division if they do not win this game and turn around and kind of run the table. Baltimore has such an easy schedule from the way out. Baltimore's looking to win that. So now they're competing in the wild card with an AFC East that is very tight. You've got the Chargers lurking. It means so much to the Bengals. So this isn't just for the Chiefs 1 seed. The Bengals need it for their playoff aspirations as well. It's just, it is such an important game, again, in the AFC playoff picture that it just means so much. I'm so excited to see the result.
Craig Stout is our guest. How much do you put into the intangible part of the matchup this weekend where it's the off-the-field stuff, it's the, talk going into it, it's the Chiefs' revenge game, it's the Bengals saying that, we won twice and still don't get the respect, that people still think the Chiefs are better than us, and, we're 2-0 against them, this last year, and the Chiefs saying, yeah, but you should be 0-2 because, we beat ourselves. It was shooting ourselves in the foot that, we got to go out and show that we're better than you. How much do you put into the intangible stuff of the build-up and the lead-up as opposed to, it's football, so once the ball is kicked off, they're just simply playing a game against their opponent across the field from them?
I mean, certainly it's going to be football. And, there are gamesmanship sort of things that happen inside the building that we don't necessarily see as the public all the time. There's extra motivation, extra things that kind of get put on the table a little bit. I think we heard about it in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game earlier this season when, those guys walked into that building, all of a sudden it was, man, we really need to win. We need to do this. We need to come up with a better game plan. We need to come up with all this stuff. And so you see these games that they kind of have circled a little bit as revenge games, very important games to the team. This has certainly been one. I think that you've heard everybody talk about it throughout the season, whether it be from the standpoint of like Chris Jones saying, hey, man, I should have iced that game, and I know I should have iced that game. He wants this game just as much as anybody else. Patrick Mahomes has referenced it multiple times. Like, listen, I let my team down in the second half of both of those games. It's unacceptable. They are putting this weight on themselves. And so from that standpoint, it does matter a lot from the intangibles because when you get to erase those demons, you get to walk off the field and you get to say, that's right, we knew it, we were right, we are the better team, can do this, we are going to be able to turn around. Next time we see these guys, it's going to be, there's not going to be this specter looming over it from these previous games. But if you lose, now it's been built up so much. Now you've been speaking about it all off season. You've been referencing this team all off season. So it puts an extra kind of weight on top of this game because, if you lose it, you've got this boogeyman. You've got this specter hanging over this team and this specific game. Now all of a sudden we as Chiefs fans, we look at like the Colts, the Titans as these games that these teams are just, bugaboos for this organization because of previous playoff losses, things of that nature. Now all of a sudden the Bengals maybe start to get slotted into that as well, and it makes teams play tight. It just changes the whole vibe of the game. So I do think the intangibles mean a lot this week.
Justin Reed said yesterday that, when he joined the Chiefs, the 3 games that he heard about when the schedule was released and, the opponents, the 3 games that were talked about with guys that were on the team the last couple of years, Buffalo, Tennessee, and Cincinnati. Those are the 3 games, and that makes sense that those would be the 3 games because even Patrick Mahomes, and you mentioned Tampa Bay, those guys kind of talked about it that Patrick Mahomes, was like, leading up to it, not all that, big of a sort of a revenge or let's get back there. He goes, but once I ran out on the field, then it felt different. Then it was, oh, wait, and so it wasn't like they were anticipating that game throughout the offseason. It was Buffalo, the divisional game they just played, and getting smoked at home, Tennessee getting smoked on the road last year, and then the Bengals getting them twice. Those are the 3 games that these players have talked about. And we hear that from other teams. We hear that from Buffalo in the offseason about playing in Kansas City. And 2 years ago, we heard it from the Cleveland Browns after losing in the divisional round all offseason was getting to Kansas City. Game number 1, getting to Kansas City. A little different when it's week 1 versus, week 13 or whatever this is. But it is one of those that at least Justin Reed verbalizing what we kind of thought anyway, because Chris Jones talked about it, Nick Bolton talked about it, Patrick Mahomes talked about it. They referenced it without being asked specifically, hey, what do you think about that Cincinnati loss, Chris Jones? No, he's weighing in on it. I missed tackles. We lost last year because of me, and I got to make up for that. Nick Bolton, I dropped an interception and, could have helped win the game. Patrick Mahomes, one of the worst halves of football I've ever played. Got to be better than that. and not even really specifically talking about Cincinnati.
Right.
Or I should say not even really specifically asked about Cincinnati. Sorry about that.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. They're bringing it up unprompted. It's very clearly at the forefront of their minds. And it makes sense because you look back at that team and you say, hey, that team probably competes in that Super Bowl. Like that Chiefs-Rams Super Bowl for the second time that we've said this in the past 4 or 5 years.
That's right.
The Chiefs-Rams Super Bowl probably goes the Chiefs' way. That's a game that you like the Chiefs in because of what they can do, the output that they can have there. So, they're ruining missed championships here at this point, and that's where you want to be. And that's kind of why, from the standpoint of this Week 13 game, I have a little bit of trepidation about putting so many eggs in this basket because, this team, the goal is the Super Bowl, and obviously they're going to continue to work towards that. It's not going to damage their ability to get there. But we have kind of picked on teams like the Chargers, for instance, rushing back J.C. Jackson, rushing back Mike Williams to play in their Super Bowl, which was against the Chiefs. Like they have these games circled on the calendar. They rush guys back. They do things differently. They pull out all the stops to try and come up with wins. And when you don't come up with wins, it is devastating. Like that is mentally draining. Now, the Chiefs organization certainly has all the people in the building to be able to recover that. It's not going to ruin their opportunity to be there at the very end of the season again. But it is one of those things that we haven't seen as often in the Mahomes era. The team this Chiefs team coming in with the kind of view of, hey, we need this one. We've had this one circled. We've had this one, as our bulletin board material for the entire year. So it just seems a little bit more out of character. And so that's why I have a little bit of trepidation about it.
We also, Craig Stout is our guest. We also heard yesterday Justin Reed, who I know that there are some people joking about Justin Reed not knowing the names of the Bengals players and who he's going to be guarding. I think fans would be shocked at how often just numbers are talked about in the film room. And
it's just numbers.
It's numbers.
Yeah.
He said who he's got, 88. Didn't realize Higbee? No, wait. Higbee was last week. Yeah, who's this guy? It starts with an H, and then he was prompted to Higgins. Oh, yeah, Higgins, whatever. Somebody over there, 88. And then number 2 is, really good, not that much of a blocker, and people then thought he was talking about Hayden Hurst, not that much of a blocker. I'm going to lock him down. Thought they were talking about Jamar Chase or T. Higgins he was going to lock down when really he was talking about Hayden Hurst. That whole thing is interesting because I think whatever side you're on, you can spin it in your favor, where Justin Reed can say, well, yeah, he's just saying last year what he saw on film was there were missed tackles. There were guys in the wrong place. There were guys out of position. There were guys that were getting beat because of mental errors and not necessarily what they are going to be doing this year, where if you're Cincinnati, you take and go, wow, he just said he's going to lock down Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And Hayden Hurst is a soft player.
Yeah, you can absolutely take that as bulletin board material. We do that as Chiefs fans all the time as well. Or still do Chiefs players. That happens. Like you see Shaq Barrett come out and go, wow, that offensive line doesn't look any different than the one that we beat up in the Super Bowl a little while ago. We all puff our chests up. And, what are you talking about? That happens all the time. And it is one of those things that, he definitely had to take. And he knows that as one of the guys that's coming into this organization, that, as you said, he knows this game is circled on the calendar. He knows that they have to step up and play better. That is the kind of talk that's going around that room. They're building that confidence. They're trying to establish that we can do this. We are going to do this. And so, yeah, he gets asked about it, says, yep, I'm going to lock down 88. And then, obviously, everybody hangs on the Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, all that extra stuff. But, he believes that he's going to lock down. I'm sure he believes that every single week. Does it always happen? No, it doesn't. But you come in with that kind of confidence. You come in with that kind of mentality. In a game like this, where there are so many emotions and there's so many intangible things, sometimes that stuff comes out in the media and you get to see it. And then obviously it makes its way to social media where you can have a little bit of verbal sparring back and forth between a couple of players and kind of take it up another notch.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's different when you specifically mention a player or a number. It takes it to another level because Jamar Chase saying there's not anybody in the NFL, there's nobody in the NFL that can guard me, is calling out Justin Reed and L'Jarius Sneed and McDuffie and Jalen Ramsey. And everybody is encompassed. Now, if he said number 5 for the Rams can't guard me, well, now it's it's Jamar Chase saying Jalen Ramsey can't guard him. When you say 88 and 2, and then Higgins it takes it to a different level as opposed to Justin Reed just saying, well, I'm gonna take my matchup and I'm gonna lock him down. That's my job this weekend is to lock down my matchup, and that's what I'm gonna do because I'm confident in doing that. And it's gonna be different this year. That doesn't then bring up Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, or Hayden Hurst. It's just we don't know who his matchup's going to be. We wouldn't think his matchup was Jamar Chase. So the whole thing is interesting, and it's sort of a Rorschach test that you can take from it what you will. Craig Stout is our guest. Let's talk defense then. So the Chiefs' defense this year versus last year's defense in the matchup with Cincinnati, now that we know Jamar Chase, let's be honest, is going to play this weekend. What's the difference there? Is it a matter of mental mistakes, not being in the right place, missed tackles, not, giving the effort or whatever it might be? What do you see in the defense this year? Younger, faster, but they are green against a really good offense versus last year that was more experienced and maybe less athletic and not as fast.
I think what we're going to see is we're probably going to see a lot of some of the same kind of coverage schemes to try and keep a lid on the defense that we've seen to date right now. Seems to be doing a good job of keeping everything in front of him. We certainly have seen Trent McDuffie, Joshua Williams, L'Jarius Sneed doing a really good job of tackling, getting point of attack and tackling, getting downhill, limiting yardage. That's going to help. I think everybody remembers Jamar Chase basically running through several tackles on his way to big gains. And I know that's scary to people, but I'm not as worried about that element of the game. I'm more worried about the 50-50 balls on the boundary. That's still going to happen. And I think that's the thing that sticks out in everybody's mind from both of those games. Charvarius Ward being in good position, safeties not rotating over the top quickly enough, and Joe Burrow being able to just throw volume targets, jump balls at guys and trying to ask them to go up and make a play. As we've seen so far this season, Trent McDuffie, obviously you don't want to throw at him. He's in the hip pocket of everybody, but if he gets matched up against the T. Higgins, that is a size mismatch. Jamar Chase, that is going to be a small mismatch from the standpoint of Jamar Chase is one of the best go up and get it 50-50 ball receivers in the league. I love Trent McDuffie, but this is one where if Joe Burrow is going to funnel balls to the outside, it can cause problems. Now, Joshua Williams, a player that I really like, is struggling to find the ball in the air a little bit. Got to get his head around on some of these. He's certainly in good position as well. So I don't know that has changed on the outside. So I am looking for the safety play to improve a little bit over what we've seen so far this season. Try and cheat maybe a little more to the boundary. Leave the middle of the field a little more open. I know that's terrifying to say, especially when you've got other guys on that offense that can really get in the middle of the field and do damage as well. But cheat over there. Help your cornerbacks out a little bit more because that's where Joe Burrow finds the most success. He's able to really kind of find the holes, hit those guys on the outside. Those are low percentage throws that they are not afraid to throw and keep throwing all game long and then come out quick, which can nullify the pass rush. So that's the part that I'm really looking for to see. It changes a little bit from last year because if that can change just a little bit, I think the Chiefs can have some success on defense.
All right, we'll take a brief timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling with Craig Stout right after this.
Take the show with you by listening live on 810WHB.com, in the 810 mobile app, or by subscribing to The Zone wherever you get your podcasts. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
You're lesser than me because you're not in the media.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Ah!
All right, welcome back here in the Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We continue our conversation with Craig Stout, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. We talk about the defense and, looking at last year and things like that and the different matchups. But I'm going to guess, Craig, that if in the situation on Sunday that the Chiefs are in a tie game with roughly 3 minutes to play or so, and there's a 3rd and 27, I'm going to guess the Spags is not going to blitz. I'm going to guess that that Spagnuolo may play just a little bit different style of defense this go around. That he's maybe concede the yards and the field goal and get the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. What say you, Craig?
You're going to guess the Spags is not going to blitz. That's a bold strategy there.
On 3rd and 27, I don't think he's going to blitz. And then a 30-yard play down the field, and they end up scoring a touchdown or kicking the field goal and winning the game. So, yeah.
I think it is likely after some of the issues that they've had with some of that in the past and the propensity for the Bengals to do that you're not going to see as many of those. And frankly, I don't know if you need to in this game. The four-man rush is certainly heating up. I know that everybody's kind of seen the sacks fall into place this season. Pressure rate is around the same. Maybe it's a little less than last year, and that may surprise some people. But the sacks are getting home, and that's what matters. And I think that we are seeing this four-man rush with Joe Cullen be a lot more effective. And so when they are in those got-to-have-it pass situations, Frank Clark, Carlos Dunlap get to tee off. Chris Jones has just been a monster on the inside. It doesn't matter the down and distance. It matters so much to this team that they can get in those scenarios. And I still see that happening against the Bengals. I don't foresee this going to be a game where we see a lot of chunk first and second yard plays. The Bengals are in 3rd and short all game long. This offensive line and this offense aren't consistent enough still. Even within some of the changes that they've made, it's not consistent enough still to stay ahead of the sticks all game long. And Spags is going to be able to get home with the four-man rush. Offensive line isn't good enough. I believe that he's going to lean on that a little bit more. I think we're going to see a lot more four-man rush, a lot less blitzing than we've seen in previous Bengals games. And I think that can matter because obviously keep your eyes in the backfield, force the check down, like you said, collapse on the ball, take the field goal, know that the offense is going to come out there and try and score points, lean on it a little bit more. I just want to say this to Chiefs fans up front here. Take the first 2 drives out of the equation and just kind of let it be because Spagnuolo right now is coming out very vanilla in the first couple of drives, seeing what the offense is giving him. You see that 3rd drive, Willie Gay comes off the field. There's been a lot of time on the tablet with Willie Gay right there. They come out after that drive. There's a lot of changes that occur. And now all of a sudden you're starting to see the defense tighten up, gets into the second half. They're even tighter, not really allowing a ton of points. So give through those first couple of drives to see what's going to happen there. I am expecting that they're going to come out with a good game plan to start, but it's going to be that 3rd, 4th, 5th drive after that you're going to see the big changes in the Chiefs defense really stepping up in a big way.
So one of the things that I wanted to ask you as we look at defensive adjustments and everything, and just a couple of quick ones and we'll let you go, but defensive adjustments that are there for this Chiefs team and the Bengals matchup. Last year, a lot of talk in the offseason about, the dropping 8 in coverage for the Bengals and only bringing 3 and Hubbard sort of being a spy on Patrick Mahomes. And it felt like, if you just remember back to the game, it felt like the entire second half was that. It just felt like that's all they were doing was playing that in the second half. And I went back and watched the game and only looked at the Bengals' defensive plays and charted 1st, 2nd, 3rd down, yards to go, things like that as to when they actually dropped 8 and only brought 3. And I was shocked to find out, I've said this a couple times, and maybe listeners will be tired of me saying it by the time Sunday rolls around, but I was floored to see that they did it only 10 times in the second half and overtime out of the 34 plays that the Chiefs ran in that game. They did it only 10 times. But Craig, 8 of those 10 were on second down. They never did it on first down. And on third down, they only did it twice in that second half. 8 of the 10 times they ran that play where they dropped 8 and only brought 3 in the second half was on second down and 4th or longer. And the Chiefs passed the ball every time on second down and 4th or longer, except for a quick handoff to McCole Hardman, coming in motion that they like to do. And Hardman got the first down, and that was the play where he got pushed out of bounds and hit late, and they didn't throw the flag, and then all of that stuff that went on. What do you make of that? That the Bengals dared the Chiefs every single time they had second and 4th or longer to run the ball, and they didn't.
Yeah, I think that speaks to Andy Reid's tendencies. I think we could all tell you that on second and 9 or longer, Andy Reid, good chance he's running the ball. But those mid-yardage situations, he feels better, installing an RPO, putting it in the hands of their quarterback. And sometimes it's not an RPO. Sometimes it's just a traditional drop back. But there's a lot of those RPO calls where all of a sudden it's like, hey, listen, take what the defense is giving you. And if they're showing basically, that they've got this stacked box up there and then they're dropping out into that drop 8 coverage, that messes with the RPO completely. That changes a lot of stuff there. It muddies everything up. So we saw that a lot. Lou Anarumo had a really good game plan against the Chiefs for that. Excellent job. Guy that I wasn't sure was going to work out and how he was going to work out for the Bengals. Awesome job. Awesome game plans against the Chiefs. The parts that stuck out to me, not just the drop 8 stuff, but the parts that stuck out to me were how much man coverage the Bengals played. And they were able to play a lot of man coverage because they could bracket Tyreek Hill, bracket Travis Kelce, and then they said, hey, beat us with DeMarcus Robinson, beat us with Byron Pringle, beat us with McCole Hardman, and those players couldn't. And so now I think that's really going to be the case here. Can MVS step up? They can't just sit there and bracket, Juju and MVS and, Travis Kelce and all these guys. Can MVS step up? Can Juju step up? Can Kadarius Toney play a bigger role, gaining some separation here when they do go in some of those man coverage looks? You can knock the Bengals out of those man looks early in the game and then try and force them into their zone looks a little bit more. And that's where you can get Kelce, Juju going. I can see this team trying to focus early on, especially with how much man the Bengals played. See them focus early on trying to force them out of their man coverage, trying to get Anarumo into some of those zones, even those drop 8 zones, because they can find solutions there. Pick up the 3 or 4 yards, swing it out to the flat, live to fight another day, and just kind of nickel and dime them throughout the rest of the game.
Yep, and Awuzie on the injured reserve, and so he won't be out there as well, so hopefully that is the case. It just felt like second down and 4 or second down and 10, we know you're running to the sticks, and we're going to drop 8, and we think we're going to be able to cover underneath. Real quick, what does Brandon Williams bring to the team, and is this a direct move for the lack of production of Derek Nottie this year?
I love Brandon Williams. So, I go to the KCSN Substack, wrote about him, did a film review on him this morning. This man completely displaces the line of scrimmage as a nose tackle. He's an immensely strong individual. I am more hyped about this practice squad signing than any of the practice squad signings this week, and the Chiefs added some real, studs to the practice squad here. I do think this is going to be a rotational piece with Derek Nottie, and Colin Saunders will get to play a little bit more 3-tech. Colin Saunders has had an excellent season. He's not getting taken off the field by any measurable means here, but Chris Jones is playing so many snaps this year. They need to find a way to keep him a little bit more rested. I think if Brandon Williams can get up to speed quickly, which he's played with Joe Cullen before, shouldn't take very long to do so, he can insert in as that other nose tackle. Colin Saunders can shift over to 3-tech a little bit more. They can operate with those 4 guys a little bit more confidently on the inside and not have to have Chris Jones play 70, 80% of the snaps. And he can be a little bit more rested, be a little bit more impactful somehow. I mean, he's already crazy impactful, but maybe a little bit more so.
Does he have anything left, Brandon Williams? Do you think? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I went back and watched some of the Joe Cullen stuff, back in 2016 and a little bit up through 2020 when he was with the Ravens. But I watched a lot of the games at the end of last year to try and understand why he wasn't signed yet. He's just, he's not much of a pass rusher. Yeah. He's never been much of a pass rusher, but he is still an elite displacement nose tackle. them. That's the thing that this defensive line needs. The Chiefs have gone to more bare fronts, more mugged up linebacker looks to try and reduce some of the angles that the guards can play. I think we've all seen the heavy personnel, the two-back stuff that's just been killing the Chiefs in the run game. So Spags made the adjustments of bringing guys up, bringing them along the line of scrimmage there, trying to muddy it up. Now all of a sudden, you can switch back to playing guys a little bit more often. The secondary, take away some of the throwing lanes, because Brandon Williams will displace the center, will displace the guard, will penetrate into the backfield in the run game, will win a one-on-one up front. And there's a handful of guys that can up front. It's just not happening consistently enough against heavy personnel. Brandon Williams can certainly do that. So I anticipate that he's going to get called up sooner rather than later. I know everybody's been calling for Danny Shelton all season long as kind of a run stuffer and all of that. Brandon Williams is the better player, in my opinion, and the guy that will be called up sooner.
All right, do you have a score for Sunday?
Oh, man. I'm afraid that this is going to end up a tight game to start, and then we're going to get into a little bit of a shootout at the end of the game. Both quarterbacks are just going to be going crazy. I'm going to say that this ends up being a little bit more high-scoring than my defensive heart would like to be. Got the Chiefs squeaking this one out 37-34.
37-34. That'd be a fun one. Craig, you're the man. Appreciate the time as always, brother. And enjoy the football and looking forward to our next conversation. Thank you, man.
Absolutely, sir.
All right, there's Craig Stout, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. KCSN.substack.com is where you can go and find the work there from Craig and Kent and Matt and BJ and everybody else there. That's at KCSN. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. We'll hear from the Chiefs on the other side of the break. We'll also play some sports or leisure later on in the show. More Zone right after this. It's a Thursday edition. It's Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
History is a long time.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we'll hear from the Chiefs coming up in just a little bit. It's assistant coach day along with the coordinator. So Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Eric Bieniemy, and then we will hear from Joe Cullen, Joe Blameyer, wide receiver coach, and an accomplice in cheating, Matt Nagy, the quarterback's coach who helps out. He helps cheaters. That's what he does. He helps people cheat. It's ridiculous. Matt Nagy will also be talking today. What a great day to hear from Matt Nagy. What a great day. Matt, you have a little bit more to the story of you giving Patrick Mahomes. You know what? Let's hear that again. Let's just hear that one from Patrick Mahomes, the New Heights podcast that dropped, last night or early this morning.
Any chance that Chiefs PR saw this podcast come out this morning and said, Matt, you're up today.
You're up.
Hey,
go.
Hey, you had something to talk about to Patrick Mahomes in 2017.
No. Yeah.
You weren't going to talk today, but now you are.
Explain yourself, sir.
Learn your lesson, Matt. We can talk to the media.
Yourself. Explain. Here's Patrick Mahomes talking about how he nailed the whiteboard test with Andy Reid when he came to Kansas City on his visit the first time he met Andy Reid and how he was able to do that.
The first day that I met Coach Reid was at the facility. We had the meetings, the top 30 visits, and so that was the first time I really met him. At that time there was no time limit, so I was in there for 5 hours. He's just going through plays, and I'm just going to give you all the inside scoop. Matt Nagy, who was our quarterback coach now, was the offensive coordinator then. He really liked me, so he gave me the plays they were going to go over the night before. So Coach Reid's finding out here live on New Heights podcast.
Oh my God!
And so
Nagy,
Nagy,
he gave you answers to the test. Let's go.
And so so of course I crushed the meeting. I stayed up all night studying those plays, and so
man, this kid is locked in. We got ourselves a winner here.
And so the rest was history, man. I met Coach Reid. He went over the plays. We went and had some lunch.
Dude, that's
He had a couple cheeseburgers, and then we went back, and I went back on the board, and I seemed like I was a guru in a sense because I knew every single play and every check.
And now, hopefully, we get a little bit more to the story because one of the things we were wondering is, did Matt Nagy give him the answers to the test because they wanted to convince Andy Reid that this was the guy? And maybe Andy Reid wasn't fully on board with Patrick Mahomes being the guy they're going to trade up and take for their next quarterback. Or was this strategy by Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, Brett Veach to say, what if we give him all of these plays? And if he doesn't come in and ace it, then that tells us his work ethic. If we give him all these plays and he comes in and he just knows everything, then we know that he's going to study. He's going to have retention. He's going to be able to see that and then put it into action on the board as well. So we'll be able to know a better idea of what we can teach him, how he can retain it, and then how he can then explain it to others as a coach. Was Andy involved in giving Patrick Mahomes the answers? And Patrick Mahomes saying on the New Heights podcast that, hey, Andy, I got to, and maybe Patrick Mahomes finds out today for the first time that, oh, hey, Patrick, got to tell you, Andy knew about that, and it was actually just testing you. It was in draft day where they put the $100 bill in the back of the playbook for the quarterback, whatever his name was.
I haven't seen draft day.
Cool. Long story short.
I'm not getting guilted for that one.
Long story short, he did not talk about the $100 bill. You know why? Because he didn't look at the playbook. They put a $100 bill in the back of the playbook and gave it to him to study before they met with him, and he had no clue there was a $100 bill in there because he never opened it up.
I wanted to put that out on the record that I think there's at least a chance that Matt Nagy steps up to the podium today and says, Patrick's actually finding out live here at the podium this was all a ploy. I don't know what I'm even rooting for. I don't know which one would be funnier. They're both so excellent to me that either this was a master plan to make Mahomes pass that test, which he did, and then the rest is history, or Matt Nagy was freaking Littlefinger out here, just sliding around in the shadows. Chaos is a ladder, and I'm going to give Mahomes the playbook before the meeting.
Well, hopefully Mahomes continues to sit on the Game of Thrones.
I would
continues to sit on the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
And that will continue this weekend. Bo Callahan from Draft Day was the quarterback that Kevin Costner foolishly wanted to trade up to draft instead of just staying with his first instinct of taking the linebacker no matter what. But they found out that people were talking about Bo Callahan with Russell Wilson because, they didn't go to his birthday party. That was in draft day. It was like
wow.
It was like his teammates never showed up. Nobody showed up to his birthday party. Is he a leader? Is he a man in the locker room that he can be trusted? And then they put a $100 bill in the playbook and he didn't know about it. Can't draft that guy.
This is a weird one. McCole Hardman just tweeted out a promoted ad tweet for a giveaway of a grill of some sort.
Okay.
But he's standing with his foot up on it, and he looks healthy and there's nothing weird or wrong. As he continues to be on IR for an abdomen injury that we never really got much information on. Breaking in to say that McCole Hardman looks like he's okay in this tweet he just put out.
The still picture. There's no Jerick McKinnon today at practice. You say Juju is back or Tony? Juju Smith-Schuster back at practice. Here's Dave Tobe.
Fire away.
Coach, what are the obvious one? What are your plans right now as far as punt returner is concerned?
Justin. We're going to look at Justin, Watson, McDuffie. We'll go there. Start there.
Is it when you take the reps in practice? I mean, you still have Sky practice and take some.
Oh yeah. We're not giving up. We don't quit. We just don't quit on players. And we're going to keep working them and keep developing them. I mean, he is he's a rookie. He's going to get better. I've said it before. We went to the limit with him, obviously, and we need to get him out of there for a while and let his head settle down a little bit. The best thing that I saw was the fact that he came in there as a wide receiver, made a great catch for us, and didn't let that one play. And I know Coach talked about that too, but that was really impressive to me.
Coach, so I've asked him before, kind of about guys getting it as far as the rules and some of the
Sure.
some of the nuances that maybe bit you, but you still believe that if you can be a receiver, you can be a returner. Or there's some guys that don't judge the ball or can't keep their eyes from looking down.
Over my career, my 22-year career, I've developed a lot of guys, and I really feel like Sky has that ability. He's got that ability, innate ability to make somebody miss, and he's a good catcher of the football. I just think, we cracked his confidence a little bit, and it's hard back there. I mean, I've talked about this before, how hard it is to play punt returner in the NFL, and he just had some bad things happen to him, and we just need some time here time will heal it up for him, I think.
I know there's been, I think, about 3 kicker punt returns here in the last couple of weeks. So there for a while, we were like 9 weeks in with only 1 in the league. But it's way down. Like 20 years ago, it was like 30 in a season. We're at 4.
At this point?
4 or 5.
Oh.
Yeah, well, no, for the whole year.
Oh, okay.
But you're at 5. So you're pacing for, 7 or 8 for the whole league. You still think it's worth it to, with the new rules and the talent of the kickers, they can still get returns, big returns?
I think I don't think it's worth coming out 5 to 8 deep. I don't think. I mean, we haven't done that. I mean, the only returns we're getting is the ones that they kick it to us. I mean, that's all we're doing. We're not doing anything crazy back there right now. So if they kick it to us, we're going to return it. When you have no choice.
But it is tougher than it's ever been.
It's tougher than it's ever been, no question. And punt return, because players are getting better. I mean, special teams is getting more emphasis on every team. You got great players out there, great kickers, great punters. There's no question.
How much of what you mentioned with Sky about cracking his confidence? I mean, this is all in retrospect, but it's a player that was learning the wide receiver position at the NFL for the first time. How much do you think it's just putting too much on his plate?
It's easy to say now that we probably put too much on his plate. I mean, and that's my fault. I had him out there. I have all the confidence in the world in the kid. I just felt like he was over the hump. The other game he caught a nice. He had a nice punt return in the game before, and I felt like the situation that he was in that particular play, I thought he had a great opportunity. He just took his eyes off the ball. It's unfortunate.
In all your years working through this, do you have an example of getting a player through this and then eventually becoming?
I'm gonna tell you what. And Devin Hester wasn't a great fielder of balls. You know, the thing that Devin Hester did is that every time he did get the ball in his hand, he did so many great things with it. People, you know, he made so many plays that the risk was worth the reward, you know. So, I mean, if he didn't have those huge plays, I mean, he would be the same situation. There was times where he had 3 muffs in a game, you know, in a year. You know, so, I mean, he just wasn't, you know, we just didn't get those explosive plays from Sky, you know, for people to have patience enough to deal with it. I mean, people drop punts all over the league. I mean, it happens. It just happened too many times for Sky.
Dave, how would you classify Watson and McDuffie? Are they more?
They're both
ball security.
Exactly. They're not maybe not as elusive, you know, as Sky's as you know the quick first step, the separation that I think Sky I know he has, and you're going to see it as a wide receiver. But you know, we have both of those guys have good long speed. You know, I mean, especially Watson. He's probably one of our fastest players on the team. You'll see. But, you know, it's that change of direction. But they're both good catchers, you know, and they're both solid catchers. And right now, that's what we need.
Coach, last 3 weeks, you had the onside kick Jacksonville got on you, and you had the fake punt. And I know the defense rose up and it didn't end up, you know, biting you. But is that maybe an indication that you look back at the film and say, we're trying maybe you're giving up too much ground, trying to get the return? And
no, we had you know, and last week, you know, we had nothing to do with the onside kick. The onside kick happened.
I just mean overall.
Yeah, I mean, we had two things. We had 2 things happen to us, and we had defense. We had stay out there. We had eight box safe. I mean, we were in a safe situation. I didn't remind him about the sticks play. Now we run. There's a reason why we run it, because it's a good play. You know, it's hard to stop. You know, they hit us on it. They hit McDuffie on it on the sideline. I mean, I could have reminded him right there at that spot. I kicked myself in the butt for not doing that. You know, but we were on high alert in that game for the fake. I mean, every time. And they did different formations and stuff. If you watch it, it wasn't a normal deal. And we got to accept the fact. I mean, we understand that that's what we're going to get. Especially, we're going to get the out-of-the-box stuff that's going to be played against us, because people are trying to steal possessions. And we know that.
I know you don't make excuses, but 11 rookies. Has this year been more of a challenge?
There's 9 rookies right now. I mean, I looked at the board. There's 9 rookies that we're playing with on special teams right now. I've never had that many. I mean, so, but I know what I'm seeing on tape. I know we're getting better. You know, it might not show all the time, but we're getting better each week. And, you know, come playoff time, you know, if we can pound it and just keep getting better, we're going to be a pretty salty group. And I really believe that. I keep telling them that. And, you know, the tape doesn't lie. If you really look at the tape and you see it, you'll see the effort. You'll see that we're close on a lot of things, and it's going to happen before the year's out with these young players.
But Harrison has seemed to hit a groove. Just a matter of health, you think, or just?
I think health is, you know, he's getting better and better each week. You know, like I said before, it's something that's going to be lingering. It's going to be there all year. I don't think it's going to go away, but he's handling it well. He doesn't talk about it anymore, you know, so hopefully you guys can stop talking about it too. So.
Well, speaking of health, you know, obviously Justin Watson and McDuffie are going to be sort of like your short-term solution at punt returner. When Kadarius Toney is healthy, how safe is it to say that he will be your primary punt returner?
It's safe to say. It's safe to say, you know, but he's still battling back. I mean, we don't know when he'll be back. You know, he might be back this week if he is. I'm not sure we can even use him in that role. You know what I mean? So, you know, he is probably the best punt returner we have on our roster.
What's the balance like for you with Isaiah to see him, you know, from what he was earlier in the season to his growth, you know, both with you and then?
Yeah, Isaiah, he's, you know, Coach talked about how he's an energizer bunny. He has no question about it. I mean, he plays so hard in everything he does, and you know, I really think he's going to pop one as a kick returner. You know, it's a good, you know, I said this before, it's a good way for him to start a game, you know, get back there and kind of get loosened up before he goes on offense. And people aren't kicking to him anyway. I mean, we might get some this week. Hopefully we do. But, you know, he's a dynamic guy back there, and he's just, you know, I had to take him off a kickoff. You know, obviously he was getting a little bit too much. So, but he wants to be on everything, you know, and he's just a great kid.
Was that the way from day one?
From day one, yeah.
Generally speaking, Bengals preview. I mean, are they seeing the Bengals?
Oh, the Bengals, yeah. One thing about the Bengals, when you watch them, you watch our championship game, they're all back. I mean, all the special teams, every one of them is back. You know, that's the big difference right there, as they got a lot of experience and they play hard. You know, so, you know, we get our hands full. There's no question about it. And, you know, they're an experienced group, well coached.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, there is Dave Tobe, special teams coordinator. We'll hear from Steve Spagnuolo and Eric Bieniemy here very shortly. Kadarius Toney is the punt returner. Safe to say, as it was asked by Herbie, safe to say that when Kadarius Toney's healthy, he's your punt returner? Yeah, it's safe to say. He'll be the primary punt returner. He is in there. Sky Moore said put too much on his plate, took it to the limit with him, couldn't go any further. And you listen to Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. And then on the fake punt, said they had the 8-box safe call, and they run that same play, that sticks play.
Hope all is well with everyone.
On purpose.
Feels good coming off another good victory. I thought our guys did a heck of a job of finding ways to. Now we're moving forward on to the Cincinnati Bengals. With that said, I'm all ears.
Coach, yesterday Mahomes talked about, you know, last year against the Bengals that his mechanics kind of fell off, and that's kind of led to the demise. How much did you see in that game, and how did that affect the offense as a whole?
You know what, I think as a whole, for whatever reason, we just didn't finish the game the right way. There's a number of things that took place either in that first game or that second game. And I told our guys earlier in the week, we can't get caught up in the emotions of what took place as far as how the game went. It's all about making sure that we understand that we utilize those two games as a learning lesson moving forward, because there's a lot of things that we know that we could have did much better that we got to continue to work on. So these guys are focused, they're locked in, but also they understand the importance of cleaning up the mistakes, because this is a good team who's getting healthy at the right time, and we got to make sure that we're on point as well.
Coach, I know it's a technically a practice squad back, but what's exciting about Melvin Gordon and adding him to the mix there?
Well, you know what? Veach does a heck of a job of always scouring and seeing exactly what's going on and what's available. So, you know, Melvin Gordon had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with him at the Combine years ago. We've had an opportunity to see him for a number of years. He's done a heck of a job, and now we have him here. He's met with Slew. He's a sharp guy. Obviously, I think he upgrades the talent level. You never want to discount players or basically, you know, you always want to keep upgrading your roster. So Melvin brings a lot of basically some playing experience, but on top of that, he's a heck of a kid, and he's a heck of a player, and he's a humble kid that understands the opportunity that he has right in front of him.
Eric, just the way that last season ended, was there any worry that that loss would linger into this year?
Not at all. I mean, the thing about it, each year takes on its own different journey, and for whatever reason, you know, that journey came to an abrupt end at that particular moment. So what do? You go back, you evaluate, you take a look at all the good, you take a look at the bad, and then you continue moving forward. But now, the thing that happened last year, it happened for a reason. It's a lesson. It's something that springs you forward. If you look at the way our guys have played, our guys have not even focused on what has taken place in the past. Their job is to make sure that they're focusing on the now and living in the moment, because the only thing that matters, it's where we are right now and what we need to do in order to help us to accomplish the goal this weekend.
So I understand it played out that way, but were there early signs that told you that wasn't going to be a concern for you? And I guess if so, when did those arrive?
It hasn't been an issue at all. You know, the thing is, you win games and you lose games in this industry. And if you're around long enough, you're going to lose some games. I remember losing against Notre Dame in 1990 or 90. We lost that one. But what did that game do? It helped us to focus to move forward. And so that's all you want to continue to do. You want to continue moving forward and understanding that things happen for a reason, and you have to utilize those life lessons to help you spring forward.
When you know, it was the final game last year, and we've heard Chris talk about it a little bit, or Patrick talk about it. Personally, for you, I mean, how long do you chew on the last game of the year?
You can only chew on it for so long. I mean, you watch it, you get through it, and then you move on. You have to, because the thing is, you can't allow certain things to have an impact on your whole entire life. There's a lot of things that you can can do to help you. You know what I mean? But you never want to just live off of negative experiences. You want to continue to make sure that you're utilizing those experiences to help you to grow and help you moving forward and educate you in as many ways as you can. And so I think the best thing about it is just understanding why it happened, but also understanding that in order to have that opportunity to happen again, you know, there's some things that we can do a lot better.
Isaiah's done a nice job, you know, as the season's gone on, but we're about to that, like, rookie wall time. Are you seeing, we see everything that happens on the field. Are you seeing everything you want to see off the field, the meeting room at this time of year? Is the rookie wall a real thing sometimes for guys?
The rookie wall is a real thing. I know I hit it in my rookie year, okay? But it doesn't seem to impact him. I mean, obviously, all the energy that you see after a play, he does the same thing in practice. The kid's very energized and excited about meetings. He does a good job in the walkthroughs. We got to slow him down at times. And then when he has to practice, he has a bunch of energy. I want what he has bottled up so I can help lose some of this damn weight moving forward. But he's a heck of a kid, and I knock on wood. I hope the rookie wall does not hit him. He seems to be in a great place right now, mentally as well as physically. And I will add to that, he got some great guys in that room that have helped him to understand what it takes to become a professional at this level and how to take care of his body. Greg Lewis, obviously being a former player, okay, now being his coach. Jerick McKinnon, okay, Clyde. I mean, there's a lot of guys with a lot of experience in that room that have helped him to understand what it takes and how to survive, you know, throughout the course of the season.
Patrick said yesterday that as he gets older, he's enjoyed throwing from the pocket a little bit more. Just where have you seen him come from in that regard of the comfort of just staying home in a sense?
You know what? It's good watching his development and some of the things that he's improved upon. But, you know, also, too, you kind of like when he breaks contain and, you know, the schoolyard play takes play. But he's done a heck of a job. Plus, on top of that, I mean, it helps that we have the three interior guys. We got Creed, we got Tooney, you know, we got the big head guy, Trey. And so those guys are doing a great job of protecting that quarterback and just keeping that pocket solid. And so that makes life a little bit easier for Pat. And Pat understands exactly, you know, what those guys are trying to do. And that way he doesn't put them in positions, okay, to be in an awkward situation where they can get called for holding.
Let's go next to Nate and Sorensen.
I guess I have two quick ones. Why is Trey called Big Head? It's my first.
That kind of slipped. But, you know, he got this. I love Trey. You know, Trey got this enormous head, and he loves it. So, and I'm not saying that he's big-headed, you know, as a person. I'm just talking about the size of it, you know. And that doesn't make him bad now, you know, because he finds a way to put his head on folks and just drives them into the ground, which we absolutely love. But he's a great kid. Obviously, we joke with each other. Those guys have a great chemistry, and they all got some nicknames. But, yeah, you know, his head is kind of large. That's all.
Great to get that clarity. In terms of this matchup, Eric, they have so many guys back from that defense last year, yet your receivers might be all new for this particular game. I just wonder how you teach the guys maybe what they're seeing from the Bengals that you saw even last year and this season, but also trying to figure out what worked for your receiving core a year ago that may be transferable to this new group.
Well, first of all, we got a hell of a coaching staff. Joe Blameyer is going to do a hell of a job with those guys. He understands that what the task is, and just we know exactly the type of coverages they present to us. So he's doing a great job of communicating, showing those guys all the little nuances that needs to be known about how the secondary plays. But when it's all said and done with, I mean, these guys are getting healthy. This is very similar to last year. They're getting healthy at the right time. They're starting to play good football at the right time. And for whatever reason, it seems like everybody's healthy when they play the Kansas City Chiefs. And so we wouldn't want it any other way, okay? We want those guys to be healthy. That way we can have our best against their best. But our guys know what we're up against. And when it's all said and done with, we just need to go out there and play hard and play fast, and then be accountable to one another and making sure that we're looking out for each other.
Last one, sir.
Coach, your name hasn't really been out there with it, but it's college hiring season for coaches, and your alma mater is looking for a coach. Just have you been contacted by anybody, and would you have interest in a college head coaching job?
I have not been contacted by anybody. I'm just noticing you got a Gremlin shirt on. Okay, that's sweet. But no, I haven't. Okay, my focus right now is here with the Kansas City Chiefs and making sure that we're getting ready. Okay, for this big game this weekend. But I like that. I went to the first Bayou Classic as a kid at the Superdome.
Would you have interest if the timing all worked out?
Listen, I'm coaching in the NFL. I love what I do. But thank you for the question. All right, you guys have a great day.
Coach, if it makes you feel better.
All right, there's Eric Bieniemy and some fun stuff about Trey Smith, big head. Big head. He's not big-headed as a person. He's got a huge melon.
Big head.
He's got a huge melon, man. He's a big dude, big guy. Takes that big head and pancakes other guys.
7 7/8 over here really appreciates the big head representation we're getting on the Chiefs' offensive line. That's great.
I'm going to go ahead and think that Trey's got you.
Oh, I bet so.
Here's Spags.
Excited to play this game. I don't say it's been our guys. We had a good practice yesterday, and hopefully we get a good one today. So with that, I'll open it up.
Coach, there's a lot of woofing going on right now between Justin Reed, Jamar Chase, Hayden Hurst responded today. How much do you encourage that or discourage that?
Never talked about. I let that Coach Reed handle that. I wasn't even aware of it until they just told me in the hallway there. So I'm not. I don't know how to get on it. I mean, I'm not lying. I don't know how to read it or do it. So, but if there are guys in the building that know how to read it, I'll let them address it.
There's also been some talk this week about Joe Cullen and his impact on the defensive line room.
Yeah.
I guess you can talk about that.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
What has he brought to the table?
Now, listen, I've known Joe a long time. I think we talked about this. We go way back. We're both from the Boston area, New England, talk the same. If you talk to Joe, he has the same kind of accent. I don't know whose is worse. He's been out of that area for a long time, too. I never lost mine. But Joe's been great, along with Terry Braden, assists Joe. And I think between both those guys and how the players have responded to him, you know, every coach that comes in and coaches a unit brings a different flair. You know, nobody does it the exact same way. And so I'm glad that the big guys have responded to it, and hopefully we can keep cranking away and playing good football.
Has it led to more mismatches along the line, and maybe that's why you guys are just you've exceeded the sack total already with 6 games to play.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious about why do you think that is?
Well, Chris is having a heck of a year, number one. And you're talking about the sacks. If I'm not mistaken, early in the year, a lot of the sacks were from linebackers, DBs, you know. So I would credit all of those guys for that. But we're talking about the D-line and Joe's impact and Terry's, and I think that's valid. When we've had four-man rushes and the way they – listen, pass rushes 80% want, in my opinion. And when those guys want to get there, and with these quarterbacks that can get in and out of trouble, we're facing another one that is, I think, one of the best at everything, including his scrambling ability. He did it to us at Cincinnati last year, had a couple here, 3 key third downs he scrambled for and got them. We got to have our best game with that group, certainly.
Steve, you moved L'Jarius outside a couple of weeks ago in L.A. Can you go into the thinking of why that was?
Yeah, I got to go back to that game plan. I think Mike Williams was playing at the time. It was a little bit of a matchup thing. A little different with this team because you got 3 of them. I only have 1 LJ. Yeah, you can't get. But that's what that thinking was. And then he tweaked that ankle and was out of the game again. I think we got back to normal, right?
How valuable has he been? I mean, not just over the past 4 years, but specifically this year, it seems like he's taken even another step forward.
Yeah, listen, LJ to me is one of our premier players. I mean, we talk a lot about Chris, we talk about Nick, but you know, LJ, you throw him right in there. We got one at every level that's playing extremely well, and LJ is certainly one of those guys. He's so versatile. You know, you move him inside, move him out. We've had him back at safety in years past here, so we're glad we got him. Yeah.
Coach, you were just talking about Joe Burrow, saying that he's the biggest threat in your opinion would probably be the fact that his scrambling ability.
Well, I'm talking about the whole package. But when we were talking about the D line, you know, I just factor in that we're dealing with another quarterback that can get. We don't have. It's not a statue. I mean, he's big and he's strong and he can throw the football, but it's not a statue by any means. He has a unique ability. What did Joe say? whether it was slither away or he's sneaky or whatever. And he's really good at protecting the football. This is one of the teams that have the fewest turnovers or fumbles in the NFL, and he's one of the reasons because he's really smart in the pocket with the football and how he maneuvers.
There were some big plays that they got you guys on up in Cincinnati last
Yeah.
year. A whole bunch of new, different players in your defensive backfield.
Yeah.
What has been the difference this year for you guys not maybe giving up as many of those really explosive plays for touchdowns?
Yeah, well, I think Dave and Donald do a good job back there with those guys. We've been cognizant of that. We talk about explosive passes every week. Last week was one of the first, a few games where we did not have a pass play over 20. I think we had a couple other games like that. That makes a huge difference. Because let's face it, offenses, right? Every offense in this league is going to prey upon explosive passes. It gets them going, right? Flips field position. So when we can eliminate that, that's a good thing. I mean, our guys are playing with good technique. You know, we've had certain coverages to eliminate that. There was a play in the game last week where it was evident that they were taking a shot, and we took it away. Now, the quarterback found the back, and it ended up being a 15-yard gain because we had taken away all the deep guys. So, but we'd like to keep doing that because I believe if you make a team drive the field, that somewhere along the way you can make a play.
Given the success that the Bengals did have last year against you in those games, how big of a kind of measuring stick is it for these young players that you've got going up against those guys?
I haven't talked about it yet, but I plan to on Saturday night. I mean, this is a real test to find out where we're at. Just don't want to be getting tested at a time when it's really important that we win the game, right? So hopefully the prior, is this game 11 or 12? 11, right? 12. Hopefully with the other 11 games we've played, it's prepared us for this. We'll find out on Sunday. I think, the young guys that we've had back there, I think have grown pretty quickly. Trent having not played a lot of games to this point, but I don't see him bat an eyelash on the sideline. Josh certainly hasn't. I mean, Jalen's dealing with that hand right now, and I thought Brian Cook did a nice job going in for one last week. We talk about, you'd think they would have attacked, as a rookie back there and the whole thing, but he was solid. And probably when you don't hear a lot about a safety after a game, that's a good thing because of the position he plays.
Coach, I know you get a lot of numbers and everything put in front of you. There was a number in a story today about you guys have like the worst QBR, one of the new ratings, when you don't get to the quarterback. Now, it said you get to and pressure the quarterback a lot, so it minimizes that. But is that something you do, whether it's that stat or some other stat? Do you have something you look at, and can you be too reliant on a pass rush?
I don't think you could ever be too reliant on it because, I think it goes hand in hand, right, the pass rush and the coverage. But the QBR, we get that, right? To me, the thing that from our standpoint, that affects the QBR rating the best is to intercept the football because that's when the QBR rating comes down. We haven't had a lot of those. We got to find our way to. But I don't remember. You guys can help me. I don't remember that we've dropped a lot. Maybe there's LJ I think had one in a game. I'm just going overall the whole year, but I think we can bring the QBR rating down if we pick a few balls off. But that's tight coverage and doing some things a little bit better and maybe confidence. You got young guys and they're more worried about just covering and not going to get the ball. So if we can start attacking the ball, LJ got one last week and Nick got one off for a tip ball. So. I'm not really sure on it.
Steve, the versatility of having Chris go from inside to outside and then Mike Dana going outside to inside, just how much do you think that has played to the success of the last few weeks?
Listen, we've always liked to move Chris around. Some of that's over on the sideline, and Chris, where do you want to go this next time? And he tries to find somebody. And listen, when you're an O-line preparing during the week, if he's in that same spot, right, that particular old lineman prepares to go against him, watches, when you move, they all have to do it, and you're not sure where he's going to be. So we try to do that as much as we can, but part of what you said there, Nate, I don't think should be overlooked. The fact that Mike can do what he does is huge, because if you didn't have that, you might have to keep Chris in a certain spot. So the versatility of both those guys is helpful. Keep doing it. Okay? Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so there you go. There's Steve Spagnuolo getting ready for the Bengals this weekend. We'll hear from Joe Cullen, Joe Blameyer, and also Matt Nagy today. But yeah, the talk between Justin Reed and some of the Bengals players. He doesn't get on it. Didn't know. Leave that to Andy Reid. Just found out about it right before he walked in to the press conference. We'll talk more about what Spags had to say. Here's Joe Cullen.
To follow on Coach Spags, but getting ready, December football, AFC opponent, a tough AFC opponent, defending champs, and they're playing great football right now. Coach Taylor and his staff, Coach Callahan do a great job on the offensive side of the ball, and they're running on all cylinders right now. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, I know Chris Jones mentioned that it's not a lot to look back on last year because they changed their offensive line so much. I'm curious, is there something for you to look back on it, or is it all just this year's tape of Cincinnati when you prepare your guys, your unit?
Well, I think one of the things about them is they're going to tell you what they're going to do. They get two really good running backs. They're going to run the football. Mixon, I mean, he's as good a back as there is when he gets rolling. I mean, I was at Baltimore for 5 years, so saw him firsthand. And Perini, I mean, they give him a rest. He can. They do a great job there. And then they have their scheme. They got great wideouts. All three of those wideouts are top caliber. So if you're going to double one, they're going to go to the other guy. And then they added, Hurst, who I was with in Baltimore. He's having a great year. So, I mean, they just do a great job with what they do. Offensive line-wise, they're playing well. Coach Pollock, they do a great job. They're physical. To me, they've just done a great job all year.
Just to be specific, though, I mean, those two games last year were big ones here. I know you weren't here, but it's a big moment. Like, do those two games that the Chiefs played last year against the Bengals, are they a big part of what you're doing to prepare, or does it not really apply to what they're doing this year with the people they have this year?
Well, obviously, each year is different, but I mean, they know us pretty well, and I think we know them pretty well, and it's just going to be a great football game.
Do you get a feeling, even though you weren't here, you get a feeling there's a lot of new players on the defense. I kind of got the feeling that they all get how this ended last year. You get a feeling in the coaching staff rooms, and I know they all mean the same thing. They're all 1 of 17 or whatever. You get a feeling this one may feel a little different when you're preparing for it?
Well, I would just say this. I mean, they took an opportunity away to go to the Super Bowl, and they earned that. And I just think, every game is different. Every year is different. It's an opportunity for us in December to get where we want to go, and they're in our way right now. They're a heck of a football team. We're going to give them everything we have.
One of the things that Coach Spags mentioned was Burrow does a very good job of protecting the ball. And he gets sacked a bunch, but doesn't fumble the ball. Any techniques or anything you can try to use against him to get the ball out when you get to him?
I've played him a couple of times. He's bigger than you think. He's a great quarterback. He can make all the throws, and to me, he's an old-style gunslinger. He's going to stay in that pocket, not going to shy away from getting the hits, and he's going to step right up into the teeth of the rush. And he does. He does a great job of corralling the football and kind of slides on through, and he can win with his legs as well. But I have a lot of respect for him. I'll tell you this now. He's a heck of a player.
Coach, you mentioned Chris Jones potentially having a career year in camp, and he has had a great year. And then yesterday he credited you and Terry with helping him to kind of get there. What do you make of that and him saying, he's been the difference for me in this season?
Well, I think, one thing, Chris has been a great football player, since he's gotten into the league. And I think, he's had great years in the past. And I just think it was just to get to the next step. The work that he's put in has been phenomenal. He's put a lot of work in, not only in the off season, but what we went through in training camp. And, he's right. My assistant defensive line coach, Terry Braden, does a phenomenal job. He will be a full-time defensive line coach in this league. And that was Chris was right on about that. But he's put the work in. And when you put the work in, usually the results happen.
How much of what he does, everyone in the league is a physical freak. I don't know if I don't want the wrong word. He's obviously, everyone's got to be athletic. But is he another level up, whether it's strength, the quickness, or the combination of length and everything? Is there a physical part to it that you just can't teach? He and Mike Dana walk into a room, they look pretty different, right?
Well, you just hit it right on the head. He has a lot of things I can't coach. So he's 6'6", 300 pounds, runs well, he's athletic, he has flexibility. And the thing that like I said this before, standing up here, I've been impressed with Chris playing the run, not only just getting after the quarterback, but being physical on the double teams, hustling downfield, making plays. In the Charger game a couple weeks ago, there was an out. He's running downfield, making the play. One of the third down runs in the Jacksonville game, and last week in the Ram game when they tried to run the quarterback sweep, he disrupted the whole play. So he's really playing both the run and the pass well.
Let's go last to Herbie.
Coach, Brandon Williams, you two now have sort of like a little mini reunion from your time together in Baltimore. What went into the decision to bring him here, and how much input did you have?
Well, first, Brandon was a heck of a player. I was with him 5 years in Baltimore. He's from this part of the country. Went to school here. I would say this, Brett Veach and Coach Reed, do a great job in terms of just keep getting talent. And at this time of year, you can never have enough valuable defensive linemen. So I think that had a lot to do with it. And then the fact that I did have a relationship with him, and he works his tail off, and so it's an opportunity for him to come in and help us.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Coach.
All right, there's Joe Colin, and a man after my own heart. Called him Perini, talking about Samaje Perine. Thank you, Joe Colin. I appreciate somebody who butchers a name just like that. It's actually pronounced Samaje Devon. People don't realize that, but Perini. I kind of want to call him Samaje Perini the whole time now. Samaje Perine. Here's Joe Blameyer.
So, people have been looking at the offense, and there's no Tyreek Hill here. You guys have done a nice job of kind of bringing everyone together and continuing to go. Have you, this point of the season, have you kind of put your finger on exactly why you guys have been able to kind of do it without a receiver like that in your room?
Yeah, all the guys have stepped up. Whether it's a specific thing, I don't know if there's a specific reason I can give you, but we asked all the guys that were coming in, because there was a number of departures, not just Tyreek, to basically get all caught up and sped up to where we were today, and so that we could just keep going as an offense. And the guys that we brought in bought into that. Smart guys, great players, but the mental part and the task at hand for them to get to where we are was huge. And they've just kept on progressing each and every week with kind of where we've been and where we're going. And that's allowed, I think, our quarterback and all the other skill positions to just keep on kind of rolling where we left off. But when we had Tyreek and D-Rob and Pringle and some of the other guys that have been mainstays for a while.
When you have veterans, you kind of expect them to be able to do that. It looks like Sky, as a rookie, has made a pretty good leap the last month or so. Have you seen that in the practice field meetings that's paying off on the field?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. He has adopted that approach where he's just got to learn everything just like the veteran guys. They've showed him a great model of behavior in the classroom and then on the practice field. And then he's gone out and made plays when he's been given the opportunity. The best thing he does is he comes in each week, and whether we've run the play one time or 100 on the practice field, he treats it as that most important rep, goes through the mental different variations of the coverages and comes over and tries to ask questions, which is a veteran type of move, because on Sunday you could see any look.
He's obviously had problems on special teams, right, with the punts. He didn't seem to need, pep talk the way he played as a receiver, but has there been times during the year you've had to pull him aside, or maybe some of the veteran guys have had to kind of talk to him in there to, maybe not let him get down on himself?
Yeah, the guys pull him along and help encourage him. I just focus with him on the offense and what he's doing as a receiver. I know the special team stuff, it obviously can affect him, but when we get isolated in the offensive and the wide receiver mentality, it's just, all right, here's what we got to accomplish either this week or this play or this series, and we're going to need you and we're counting on you. You can make the plays. Let's go.
Like Todd said, his numbers statistically have been better of late, but early on, he was kind of a forgotten guy. I guess the question is, was that creeping in when he had the 2 drops earlier? Was that affecting him as a receiver early in the season?
No, I think early on we were introducing him to the offense, and he had packages, and he was kind of more or less tagged on specific plays, where that mentality where you're kind of in and out based on specific plays is kind of like an assassin mentality where you're just in and out and you got to be perfect. At this point in the season, with some of the injuries and just where we are, he is more in the flow of, hey, you just got to play receiver in this offense, whether it's one specific spot or anywhere on the field. We need you. You got to go in and make the plays. And that kind of just frees him up to play football. And that's what he's good at, as opposed to thinking about, hey, this is my one play I worked all week on, this specific look. I got to be perfect. Now he's just, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm confident in my assignment. Now I can just go play.
Joe, I'm not asking you to give away trade secrets or anything, but a lot of teams run motion, but you guys tend to throw a lot to a guy that goes in motion. I guess what benefits, if any, are there to get a guy moving before the snap and then maybe help him on his route?
Yeah, sometimes based on a number of different defensive factors
whatever it may be. Sometimes the momentum can help, whether you're just moving one way or the other to get momentum going down the field or to get the defender moving his feet a little bit and then the ball snapping going. I think if you have the ability and the language in your offense to move people around pre-snap, to utilize it, doesn't hurt as long as the guys are in tuned and aware of how to do it. And so we try to use that on as many plays as we can.
Joe, did you learn anything or things about Kadarius Toney in the short time you had him before he was injured?
Yeah, I mean, he can handle a lot mentally and then go out and perform. I was pleased with his approach during the week, and we kind of built, a segment of the game plan for him early on, and then kind of just gave him almost everything the next week when he ended up getting hurt. But he was operating full speed, knowing his assignments. He tackles any assignment with full gusto. I mean, he whether it be on the field or in the classroom, he is willing to play. He wants to play. When he gets healthy, he'll be back out there. But his approach is you can't overload him. Is what I've learned this so far.
Coach, I know there's a lot of talk about Valdez-Scantling, that maybe he can do more than what he had done in Green Bay. That he's not just a go route runner. And where do you think he is as far as being able to handle everything? And has it met your expectations, fallen short, exceeded? Where does he sit?
No, I think you're right. Quez can do everything. He's a well-rounded receiver. We ask him to do a lot of the vertical routes with a number of the complementary skilled players that we have. He's got hidden yardage out there that maybe the ball hasn't found him, but he was running routes, not just vertical routes, where he was open or he could have got some yardage. So I think the timing and just the situation of the ball finding him, he will start to accumulate the stats that maybe his route running and his play has shown on film that is capable out there. But yeah, he can do everything. We have him on a lot of the vertical routes because he's really good at that too, but he can do them all.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks.
There's wide receiver coach Joe Blameyer. We'll hear from quarterbacks coach Matt Nagy coming up next after hearing from Joe Cullen and Dave Tobe and Steve Spagnuolo and Eric Bieniemy. A lot of talk about Sky Moore and his development there, along with the issues on the punt return and not affecting what he's been able to do as a receiver and coming along and getting better and better as a receiver for the Chiefs. And MVS, we've talked about it the last couple of weeks that, whether he and Patrick Mahomes aren't on the same page or the drop pass on 3rd and 1, but we've seen the number of snaps diminish this last week, and that includes with a couple of guys who were injured, with Mecole Hardman on the IR and Kadarius Toney missing the game. Toney is not practicing today, didn't practice yesterday, so I would guess he's not going to play this week. So it'll be interesting to see what Justin Watson and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, what they look like in their routes and the playtime percentage. Really, the snap count is really more than anything what it looks like. So, I mean, they brought MVS over and said that he's going to do more than just the deep vertical routes, but so far it's been mostly that and mixing in some other things, but that relationship hasn't really built on what it looked like the first 3 weeks. And maybe that's just because relationship of other guys are progressing and guys are getting used to it, and it is truly going to be what Patrick Mahomes said is a week-by-week thing that, sorry, fantasy owners.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting that he lays out there for Sky Moore that being more in the flow of the offense and not running on for a play you've worked on all week and then running off again. We could see that happening. That's typically how the Chiefs have brought along their young receivers early on. I'm not sure Sky Moore would be more in the flow of the offense if it weren't for those injuries ahead of him. That's the part of it that I would poke at a little further. But regardless, just seeing him on the field more, shockingly, creating more opportunities, getting him more comfortable in the offense. I know it's an uncomfortable thing for Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, Matt Nagy, and Blameyer to do, to put the young guy out there maybe before he's fully baked. But in this instance, it's been very good for Sky Moore to be on the field on offense.
Sky Moore becomes a very important piece this weekend because if they are going to drop 8 and rush 3, like they did at certain times last year in the AFC Championship game, they were bracketing Tyreek Hill and bracketing Travis Kelce and saying somebody else win your one-on-one man-to-man matchup. They were playing man with everybody else, bracketing Tyreek and Travis. And guys weren't getting open, at least to the level you would hope that. are they going to do that this week? And does Sky Moore and other guys get open? Here's Matt Nagy.
Nelson podcast today. Patrick let the cat out of the bag. You gave him the plays before his visit. Can you tell us your side of the story?
I keep hearing about that here today. So, well, yeah, I mean, it was, you know, it's always a unique and fun process going through that. And I think you go back to that time when every year you're prepping for different positions, different players, et cetera. And it's such a lengthy, grueling process. And obviously we all had, I think it was very safe to say that there was a major consensus in our building of who we liked. And so me being the coordinator / quarterback coach, I could have a little part of that to be able to, you know, help out and see where he's at. And so I just know that Coach Reed and Veacher and a lot of other people in that building really like Patrick, including myself. And so you get a chance to meet with them. And, you know, everybody has a process of what you go through. And, you know, for us, it was able to go through some plays. And Coach has a phenomenal process of evaluation of many different positions, but in particular, I think his process of evaluating quarterbacks is awesome. And so that was just a part of the process. And I have not seen it yet, what you're talking about, but I can assume he's probably having some fun with it. And yeah, we definitely like Patrick.
So it seems like yes that you gave him the answers or the plays.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
So that's a yes, you gave him the plays ahead of time?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
You had other quarterbacks in that year too. I mean,
yeah, a lot of great ones.
Did you give them the plays too?
We were we went over different plays at different times throughout the process of different weeks and different months. But but I thought Patrick did a hell of a job on the test. Coach was giving him some good questions on the plays, and Patrick, man, he knew what he was doing, but it was impressive.
Was the secret plan and Brad, I guess John at the time,
yeah.
Were they aware that when he came back in that he had already seen some of these plays?
Well, I know how much they loved him pre-draft process and how much I mean, again, like we were all so much into him, and I mean, Coach and Veacher and Dorse and all these guys. I mean, that was I think the best part. Before I get to your answer or your question is, everybody was just very all in on him, and it made it easy. But now there's a process to it, and again, like I said, I was a part of that process, and some may have known a little bit, and some may have not.
I mean, there's all the stories about the teams that liked him as well, and
yeah.
reached out and said, "Hey, nice job," and everything. But you sit around in a room, and everyone like, keep your mouth shut, like this can't get out there. You had to go a long way up to get him, obviously.
Yeah, that for sure that happens in every draft, and when you're dealing with a quarterback, and again, like you look at the process of especially a first round and some trade movements that could go on. You know, I had my part at that time. I was in a different role. And for me, meaning like I was a quarterback coach / coordinator, and I could do everything that I could, knowing how I felt and knowing how everybody else felt to try to help out. And but the guys in the war room, the GMs, the head coaches, et cetera, there's a method to the madness of how it goes down. There certainly is. Every team has their way. Some are very silent, and some are louder, and they can manipulate it however they want. I just know where we all stood, and I guess, like you said, Pat gave a little bit of the intel on that.
We knew how much Brett liked Pat. I mean, that's kind of been the start.
Yeah.
Was there a conversation between the two Delaware guys? Like, okay, let's maybe help him in a special way because we really want him to impress Coach Reed?
Well, again, I'll say this. I'll say that I know that when Coach was watching Patrick and just seeing, you know, his tape on film and just in college, like every play that he had, I mean, Coach just kept talking about just the type of special plays that he was making. And obviously I know Veach was all over it, those two guys and Dorse. And so, I mean, it's for me to be able to, all of us, we talk. And so we all have talks, and then there's weeks and months and even longer than months that you talk about maybe a certain player, and you get closer and closer to the time of maybe drafting somebody, and you can get a big time liking for him. And but then at the same point in time, there's maybe some discussions of Delaware talk that could go down. And Veach is he definitely he was very big on Patrick, and I think it goes to show that he definitely knows what he's looking at with talent.
Your connection with him very early on can be described as special. Like, just
Yeah.
seems like you guys have a thing going on. Why do you think that is?
And who's that?
You and Patrick.
You know what? It's something where, again, I do go back on a serious note. I go back to this whole process and watching and a lot of different quarterbacks, a lot of different positions. Now, at that point in time, I was coordinator, so I was watching more positions than just quarterback. But when you find somebody that you all like and you really want to dig into where is he, and I think if you go back to remembering when he was coming out, there was a lot of concern about the conference that he played in, the defenses he was seeing, and was he going to translate from prior quarterbacks into an NFL quarterback, let alone a franchise future phenomenal quarterback. And for me, when you met the person, when you met Patrick, he's impossible to not like. And then you put the tape on, you start watching, and you can't put the clicker down, and you just watch more and more and more. Then you connect the person with it. Then you talk to other coaches. You talk to people around the league. And now you got to create your own opinion. And then when we ended up drafting Patrick and he came in, to be able to be in that room with Alex and Patrick and see that whole, just to see that thing develop organically between Alex and him, I got a big time respect for Patrick on how he handled himself as as a first round draft pick coming into Alex and where we were, because we were still winning. Then to leave and now come back 4 years later, 5 years later, I get to be able to see the growth that he's had, the appreciation of who he is from a person. I mean, he's so humble. He does not have an ego. But yet he wants to master this game. He wants to master the position, and it's internally driven. So when I see that, I love being a part of it, and I just want to be able to help him out as much as I can, and he helps me out too. So like that part, leaving and coming back because of some of the background we had before, that's the part that's fun for me now.
Matt, a little bit about the game coming up. You weren't part of the games last year against the Bengals.
Right.
Do you remember watching the AFC Championship game live?
Yeah.
Had you checked out on football at that point?
No, I didn't.
You were looking at it. Were you surprised the Chiefs' offense couldn't get in going in the second half?
Well, when you're watching it on TV, you can't really tell exactly what's going on specifically, what they're doing schematically. Just like everybody else, you see it as a tale of two halves. Now we're able to dig in and really see, do you have some reasons why yes, maybe no, et cetera. So, but for me, I was able to see it. I was able to watch it. And they're a great football team. I mean, I think you look at specifically from an offensive side of the ball, their defense, very well coached, great things that they do. And so we're going to be put to the test this weekend. And I think that it's a credit to them, but also it's a challenge for us. And it's a playoff type atmosphere.
Are there certain teams, maybe the Bengals, obviously the Bengals fall in this category if it is, but styles make fights, right? They say in boxing that what they do, their personnel is just kind of a bad matchup for Patrick, or is it just they had a good day, maybe the Chiefs didn't have as good?
I do think it's a good question. I would say this, that every team has their own identity, and there's, like you said, to the boxing analogy, some matchups just don't work out right. For us right now, and for Patrick specifically, and I think this is one of the good things of where he's at this year, is right now for him, it's week by week to be as consistent as he can be, regardless of what has happened in the past. And I say that to the point that we have not brought up in our room one time about anything that has happened. We know what has happened, and we're on to this year. Now, schematically, what do we need to do? We'll work through that. But, I think that for Patrick, he's in a good place right now. Our offense and our team is in a good place. And so what we want to do is keep that going and make sure that play by play, drive by drive, game by game, we keep this going, because it's been fun, and we all are learning different ways to win. We're calloused, and Patrick's a huge reason for that.
Thanks, everyone.
No problem. Take care.
All right, there's Matt Nagy, quarterback's coach. A lot of stuff to take away from the press conferences. We will take a timeout. Come back.
That?
Matt Nagy, quarterback's coach.
There you go.
What did I say?
Kind of, I don't know, Nacky or something. Matt Nasty, I think is what what we call him off air. Call him Matt Nasty because of how sick he was getting the plays to Patrick Mahomes, maybe behind Andy Reid's back, but probably not.
I don't remember ever calling him that. But Matt Nagy, quarterback's coach for the Chiefs, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and we will react to what we heard there. And I will read too much into something yet again. I will hear
fantastic.
Matt Nagy, and I'm going to read way too much into it. That obviously Matt Nagy also thinks Burrow sucks. No, that's not right. But there is something that maybe I'm drawing too much of a conclusion. We'll find out.
Maybe a phonetic pronunciation of the man's last name? No, you'd never read that.
Snaggy. I knew it started with an S, though.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Apropos of absolutely nothing we've been talking about in the first hour.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, play some Sports or Leisure coming up at 1 o'clock, 913-912-4810. Press conferences. Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Eric Bieniemy, Joe Cullen, Joe Blameyer, and Matt Nagy.
Was that all?
I think so. Let me look through. Let me count 1, 2, 3, 4. Carry the 1, divide by the remainder. Yep, that was it.
You got a lot of coaches.
Just those coaches. So, main takeaways. Reading too much into this, drawing conclusions. Boy, Matt Nagy was uncomfortable talking about the whole Mahomes getting the plays before and how the whole thing went down, and there are processes, and the word cloud process being the one word that then is surrounded by small little words. It's the one main comment.
He used the word different a lot. Different processes, different days and time, different days and different weeks. And
it was a process, and you got to process the process sometimes. And when you're around the process, you just have to process it. While there is a process to this whole process, so if you can process that, then everybody will be able to just, process on to the next segment. He seemed nervous talking about that.
He did.
I wonder if he has this feeling like, damn you, Pat. Andy never knew. Like now, Andy's gonna be pissed. He's going to be mad because he's going to think that I went behind his back and, screwed over this process.
At least he didn't do all this for Mitch Trubisky.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. So probably reading into to that a little bit.
Well, here's the thing, man. I don't know that you are reading into it too much because he was definitely uncomfortable. My only other theory is one that is like that got out and he legit kept a secret from Andy Reid successfully for several years and now it's out, or that is a legitimate thing that the Chiefs will do sometimes to test guys or whatever, and Andy Reid's going to be pissed that one of their methods got out.
True.
Either way, though, it seems like it ends with a pissed Andy Reid and Matt Nagy getting in trouble, and maybe Mahomes getting in trouble.
Yeah, maybe it's like, hey, Patrick, you're not the only one that would do that for. You jerk.
Did they also do that for Isaiah Pacheco? I don't know.
Yes,
see how he reads.
Obviously, they did. Here's where I'm really going to read into it and try to sift through and draw my own conclusions and piece this thing together from missing parts of the portrait, and I'm just going to draw in and color in what's missed there.
I love it.
He talked about Andy Reid and watching the film, and he said, Andy, we were watching it, and he would comment on the special plays that Patrick was making. I kind of read that as he was commenting on those, but not really looking at some of the other things that he does that we were seeing. Like he was, that's amazing play. Yeah, that's cool, amazing play. Again, me drawing my own conclusions. And he mentioned, when you watch the film, there's a lot of talk about his offense and the defenses he was seeing and whether that was going to translate to the NFL. So are those connected? That we're watching film, and when you watch the film, there's a lot to talk about the offense he runs, the defenses he's seeing. Is it going to translate to the NFL? An answer 3 minutes before that of Andy Reid, when he would watch the film, he'd comment on the special plays that Patrick would make. This is me totally connecting dots and coloring
fun one, though.
And coloring in, whereas things that may not even connect. They are separate universes, but I'm connecting them by just coloring in this universe to make it one.
And you've connected all the dots, and hold on, step back. What's that say? Andy Reid hated Patrick Mahomes in college.
That's what I'm going with. Andy Reid did not believe Patrick Mahomes would be able to translate to the NFL, and he had to be convinced by Brett Veach and Matt Nagy, who went behind his back, gave him the plays so that Patrick Mahomes would go and kill the test, and Andy Reid would be like, you know what, you guys are right, tip of the cap, this guy's brilliant, let's get him. It's going to translate to the NFL. I don't care what offense he ran, I don't care what defenses he saw, I know what just happened there on the whiteboard. We talked about it, we went and had cheeseburgers, we came back and he still retained it and spit it all back out. This guy's great. Brett, tip of the cap, nice job. Dorsey, get it done.
Reid was a Nathan Peterman fan. It's documented.
Reid's like, I still think this Trubisky guy has got it.
What if we trade up to 2?
What if Nagy's like, Reed, Trubisky sucks.
Come on, this dude's terrible. He's never going to be anything.
Trubisky is not going to believe it. It's Trubisky.
In fact, I'll prove it to you. I'm going to coach him for 3 years.
Let me tell you this, Andy. Trubisky's a coach killer. Whoever drafts Trubisky, that coach is going to get fired. Okay? Maybe he'll fire 2 of them. Andy
Reid's presser on Friday just got so much more interesting because I think it's a fast Friday. Andy Reid's never in a very like playful mood on a Friday, and that is like you are between me and more game planning right now. Get out of here. This is crunch time.
Yes,
but the tone that we're gonna get from Andy Reid in about 48 hours, I really think is gonna be fascinating. I really don't know what it's gonna be. I really don't know if Nagy's trying to protect the secret option that the Chiefs have that they do in it for evaluation,
exactly.
Or if Matt Nagy right now is going, oh God, I'm gonna have a miserable day for something I did half a decade ago that I was proven right on.
Just walks over to Andy's office. Hey, Coach, you got a minute? I wanted to talk to you for.
You listen to the New Heights with Pat on it. You probably subscribed, right? You checked that out yet? No. All right, cool.
Heard about some of the conversation around the office today. I didn't know if you got to go late. Okay, yeah, no, it's cool. I'll come back. But I would like to really talk to you right now before you go and talk to other coaches and players. It would be great if I could. Later, yeah. That's well. I got a press conference anyway. I'll be back.
Yeah,
not a big deal. Not a big deal. I'll be back. I'm just gonna go talk to these guys. And then Adam was like, "So was that? Are you saying that then you gave them the plays? Yeah, maybe a little bit. And then what about other players? Well, I'll take that as a no. That you didn't give the other quarterbacks the plays as well. That for whatever reason it was Mahomes. And you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make sure that the guy you believe in is the one that is drafted. And thankfully, Matt Nagy and Brett Veach did not do that for Mitchell Trubisky. And Deshaun Watson.
We were like another 5 minutes away, I think, from one of the reporters just going, Matt, don't even answer this. We're just going to look at your face when I say this out loud. You went behind Andy Reid's back to trick him into loving Patrick Mahomes. I saw an eyebrow twitch.
Isn't it true, Matt? Isn't it true that you did not tell Andy Reid? You went behind his back. You gave Patrick Mahomes the playbook because you didn't believe Andy Reid believed in Patrick Mahomes. You sat there in that war room and you went behind his back. You stabbed him in the back for Patrick Mahomes. Wouldn't you say that's what happened?
I don't know. Maybe.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language?
You're into sports, but nothing wrong with a little leisure time. Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
All right, it is time for a little sports or leisure right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 913-381-810 is the phone number. Had the week off last week for Thanksgiving. So back at it with a little sports or leisure. 913-381-810 is the phone number to join us to play sports or leisure. It is presented each and every week that we play it by Johnny's Tavern. Johnny's Tavern, the best sports bar in Kansas City and Lawrence, Topeka, all the different locations, and great stuff from Johnny's Tavern. $25 on the line at Johnny's Tavern, and a gift card if you get a sports question and a leisure question correct. You will win the $25 to Johnny's Tavern. If you get either of them wrong, you lose, and the question is out there for someone to call in and request if they know the answer to it, if they've had time to Google it, whatever it is. We do not give out the answer to the question until it is answered correctly by a contestant, or we are out of time, and we just simply say, here are the questions that we never got answers to, and we give them away then, while trying to give away as many gift cards as possible in a game Mick Schaefer begrudgingly called Everybody Wins, until he became a part of it and said, actually, you know what? This is just sports or leisure, and it's tough to have a iron fist around here. So there's no iron fist around here anymore. It is gone. Mick has taken his iron fist, and he has left.
I'm not going to say anything about
He surrendered his iron fist right as the game started. 913-381-810. Let's go through the categories today.
I'd love to.
All right. So we've got NFL as a category. A lot of questions with that. Some Chiefs-specific, some NFL general questions in there as well. We have Chiefs and Bengals. Couldn't think of a cool, clever name for players that played for both the Chiefs and the Bengals. I didn't know it was going like a Chief can change its stripes.
A wolf in tiger's clothing, maybe. I mean, we're working.
Can a wolf change its stripes?
Wolf, yeah, maybe that might be it. A wolf changing its stripes.
Yeah, we'll go Chiefs and Bengals for this one, just for argument's sake. And then we have a question around college football and a couple college basketball questions as well. So NFL, Chiefs and Bengals, one college football, couple college basketball, and that is it on the sports side. What about the leisure side?
On the leisure side, we have the pun name game, which is a combination of a couple of names typically, like in weeks past. This backup Chiefs tight end is McDreamy in his own right, but I'm not sure I'd want him to be a doctor or even to play one on this beloved TV medical drama.
Blake Bell's Anatomy.
That was Blake Bell's Anatomy. That was Noah Gray's Anatomy. That's how the pun name game works. So the pun name game, we have read a book. You give us, or I give you the iconic book. You give us the author of that book. We have the commonly misspelled word spelling bee. And this week's debut, we have trivia.
Ohio.
It's trivia about Ohio. The category itself is called Oh Hi! Oh Trivia! Turns into a Jerry Seinfeld impression.
What's the deal with sports or leisure?
What's the deal with Ohio?
Jerry! It's Ohio! Jerry! Was that wrong? All right.
That was pretty good.
913-381-810. I'm good to go. Josh, you ready?
I'm ready to go!
Beards.
I'm not doing a Seinfeld impression.
Beards!
Hello!
Give us your best Elaine impression, please, Beards. And then tell us if you're ready to go.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I love it when she says that. When she says no, I'm good like that.
That's my favorite line.
It's the best. Hello, Newman. All right. I wish the first person was named Newman on this one. That would have been great.
Is there anybody on the line who is named Newman? You get to skip.
I would have
if your name is
obviously gone to
Newman,
them
you get
first.
to skip straight
I
ahead.
would have obviously gone to them first. But from now on, if your name is Newman, you just simply are in line.
Yeah.
It would only been if you were already on hold right now and your name was Newman.
If you say your name's Newman and then you win and then you give Beards a different name for your legal name, you no longer win.
You automatically.
Fake Newmans.
It's a loss. Goodbye, Newman. Lucas leads us off on Sports Radio 810
Hello,
WHB.
Lucas.
Lucas, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Can we start with the NFL? General NFL, fine.
Yes, you can start with general NFL, if you so please. All right, so Derrick Henry surpassed 10 rushing touchdowns on the season this past week. He's the 5th player in NFL history to have 5 or more consecutive years with at least 10 rushing touchdowns. Lucas, because you're first up, go ahead and name one of the other four. 5 straight years of at least 10 rushing touchdowns.
Oh, there seems like one that would be really obvious. That right, though. We're going to think about it. Probably. I mean,
do you have an idea, Jet? Two of them are kind of surprising.
I have one that immediately jumped to mind.
One of them is definitely surprising, but if you play fantasy football, you're like, okay, that makes sense because I remember, at that time that he was somebody that was coveted, but not a household name at all.
I have one that I feel pretty.
And then also fantasy football, there were some high level players that were maybe first round draft picks or number 1 draft picks, number 2 draft picks, things like that when they were in their prime. But anyway, Derrick Henry, 5 straight now, 10 rushing touchdowns or more. He is the 5th player to do that. Name one of the other 4.
Can I go with Adrian Peterson?
He is one of the other 4. That is correct.
Did he do it 10 consecutive years? It wouldn't surprise me.
He did it at least 5. I know that.
I'll look it up.
So Adrian Peterson. I would actually like to. I should have looked up the record as to who has the most consecutive seasons of at least 10 rushing touchdowns. I can do that at the break if you remind me. But yes, Adrian Peterson is one of them. You guys want to throw a dart and guess who any of the others are?
Oh, I thought you were going to leave the question open.
No.
No, I'm looking at Adrian Peterson's
LaDainian Tomlinson.
That makes sense. Sean Alexander do it?
Sean Alexander did it, but here's the surprising one. And if you played fantasy football, then you're like, okay, that makes it. Michael Turner.
Wow.
For the Falcons. Michael Turner in fantasy, like, you know what? I remember him being a guy that was like sneaky every year. It's like, he's a sleeper. Michael Turner.
Adrian Peterson did it 7 years in a row, tore his ACL, and then got 11 touchdowns the next year.
So he has at least 8?
So it's 7 in a row, and then one year he didn't because of the ACL, and then the next year he came back and did it one more time.
There we go.
Incredible.
Leisure with Josh.
What's the category you're feeling today?
I guess we'll go with your dumb category, Ohio trivia.
Thank you very much. Well, once Frederick Bauer popped, he could not stop. The Cincinnati chemist and inventor died in 2008, and then he was cremated and buried inside of his internationally known invention. At this point, I guess he's more of a collection of dehydrated human flakes. Anyway, what's he buried in?
What was his name?
Frederick Bauer, from Cincinnati, cremated and put inside of his own invention, making him more of a collection of dehydrated human flakes. Not technically a body at that point, I guess.
So freaking weird.
Correct.
I have no idea what he invented.
I don't. Jason, did you get it from context clues, or are you looking at stats again?
Oh, I'm looking up the consecutive years of at least 10 rushing touchdowns. While you guys play the leisure, I'm over here doing my thing.
All right, Beards had to read it again. I'm going to go through it one more time here. Once Frederick Bauer popped, he could not stop. The Cincinnati chemist and inventor died in 2008 and then was cremated and buried inside of his internationally known invention. And at this point, I guess he's more of a collection of dehydrated human flakes. What is he buried in?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, so like a Pringles can?
That is correct.
Nice job. The popping can't stop.
I didn't want to ask you the state bird of Ohio. I found out that the inventor of the Pringles can is from Cincinnati and is buried inside of a Pringles can.
So the next person asking for the Ohio trivia, think of the state bird of Ohio.
Yeah, right.
Lucas, will put you on hold. Congratulations. You get to talk to Beards on the other side, and also you get $25 to Johnny's Tavern.
2 prizes.
Yes. Thank you, Lucas. All right. 913-381-810 is the phone number. Right at the C. It's just that easy. It's just that easy. And still looking for the consecutive seasons, but I'll find it. Don't worry. I will get there. All right, 913-381-810. We go to Sean, who's next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sports or Leisure. Sean, what side do you want to start with?
What's up, fellas? How's it going?
It is going fine, man. Hope you're doing well. What side do you want to start with, bud?
Let's do sports, and let's do Chiefs and Bengals.
Chiefs and Bengals, okay. This player was drafted by the Bengals and played 11 years in Cincinnati. Only 11 games for the Chiefs, but did help them to the best record in the AFC, reaching his goal of 100 sacks for a career while wearing a Chiefs uniform.
Wow.
Also, Germany's up 1-0. If you're wondering, Germany is leading 1-0.
I can't see where they're playing there.
College of Rhodes
CRC,
College.
Is that?
Oh, this just recently happened. It was last week.
What?
Or a week ago. That's Dunlap.
Yeah,
there you go.
Nice job,
That was
Sean.
sort of a trick question, but a good one. Yeah, I like it.
He only played 11 games for the Chiefs, but did help them to the best record in the AFC. That's all true. It's all true. Carlos Dunlap, well done. I was trying to think of a way to, have Carlos Dunlap be like, he plays on the Chiefs now.
He's there right now. And
he wears number 8.
That's
and
a good
he's
one.
making his return to Cincinnati for the first time.
That was a crazy, sneaky question.
So well done. Nice job, Sean. On to leisure with, I don't know, Josh or something.
I'll take it from here, Jason. The pun name game, read a book, commonly misspelled word spelling bee, or the Ohio trivia.
I'm going to go with my normal. Let's spell a word.
All right. I'm tempted to make you just spell Cincinnati because I continue to get it wrong so often that it's embarrassing. But instead, I would like for you to spell the word chauffeur.
Chauffeur. Man, that's one that I don't really spell very often.
That's a word I would have expected Corey to be able to, I know how to spell this one.
That's
I got
crazy,
this.
man. I thought you'd know how to spell this one, chauffeur. Sorry, for sure.
Let's give it a go. Let's go.
Sure.
I believe it's CHAUF. I don't know if there's 2 F's or not. Is there another F? I think there is another F. So CHAFF.
You changed it. You changed it there.
First time.
Yep. You changed. You dropped a letter there the second time you're spelling it again. So I'm gonna hit you with the pause. Let you restart one more time.
Okay. CHAUFFEUR.
Nice job.
Good work. Well done. You dropped
Nice
one
job.
of the
Well done.
vowels there the second time through. I just wanted to make sure you didn't make that your final answer.
Yeah, it was about to be Chafer.
Victory. Well, and he's not here till tomorrow.
That's right. So is that another win?
That's another win.
We're gonna put Johnny's out of business. I mean,
That's what I keep thinking.
Mick's so right. Everybody wins on this game.
Everybody wins when you go to Johnny's. I mean,
Sean, well done. Congratulations. We'll get your information. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you very much.
There's
That's
another
Elvis.
winner. That's right. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Also, Spain is up 1-0 on Japan right now. So, Germany and Spain leading right now, 1-0 on their opponents.
It's Costa Rica for Germany, by the way. That's the CRC there.
Oh, okay. I was going with the College of Rhodes College. I got it wrong. Let's go to Avery, who's next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Avery, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
You gotta see the baby. That's my lane, I guess. I'll do pun name game.
All right. You know what?
You
told
Seinfeld
Jason.
one?
I told Jason. No, this one's topical for the week, though. I told Jason earlier that I made one so stupid that I was ashamed of it.
If it's the one that I just read out loud or just saw the answer to myself, then yes, please read it.
It's the one I'm going to do, and I trust you to handle this one. For the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, he's been able to march the team gently through the Chiefs' defense. Scarily, he can't be out-schemed.
So stupid.
Are you mixing Joe Burrows and Row Your Boat?
I mean, I don't know. I
kind
don't
of
really
how
answer
the
questions
game
like that. I don't really
works.
answer follow-up questions. I just kind of wait for.
Yeah, we don't give hints here. What do you do?
Joe Burrow, row your boat.
That's right. Nice job. Nice job. Oh, it's so stupid. So bad. So bad.
All right, let me do a college basketball.
All right, college basketball for you. So we have two questions. We have a general one and we have a KU specific one that came up this last week. So either one of those you prefer.
I'll do the KU one, I guess.
All right. Jalen Wilson became the 5th KU player over the last 25 seasons to record 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in a single game. Name any of the other 4 players to do that for KU.
Nick Collison.
That's one. Yeah. Name 2.
Cedric Lawson.
Name 3 of the other 4 to do that. Name all four that did that.
Dapion.
Yeah, if you could do it in a children's song also, that would be really good.
That's right.
Be good.
Name the only person to do it twice then.
Diedrich Lawson.
Name the only person to do it 3 times. Then, nobody. Let's see. Diedrich Lawson, Drew Gooden, Nick Collison, and oddly enough, Devon Dotson. Devin Dotson was close.
He was, yeah.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, it's.
I listened to the on the radio, and I gets it wrong, and I just remember it wrong.
Yeah, no, it's pronounced Devon. Yeah, it's very surprising, believe me. Very surprising. Yes, there you go. So you were able to name one.
Right,
So,
you ran up the score on us on this one, man.
You got no extra credit, though.
You came through. You took Joe Burrow, row your boat. You bought the heat.
You don't get a $29 gift card because you got all 4. Okay, just so you know, Avery. All right, you get it's only $25. We don't get to add and subtract dollars to that.
Incredible performance.
Thank you for playing, man. As always, appreciate it. Put you on hold, and you get to talk to Beards.
Thanks, guys.
All right, see you, man. There's another winner. Are we 3 for 3?
Yeah, we got to. I'm gonna start using the hard questions now.
Yeah. I mean, I only had 2 college basketball ones, so it's either a general one or the one KU one that I saw. So those were your choices.
I'm going to try to figure out if I can get like T. Higgins and Humpty Dumpty into a pun or something. I'm not sure. I'll work on it.
Okay. Well, let's see. Maybe get Higgins, Chase, Hurst, and Higbee. Higgins and Higbee.
I can do that. I know I could do that.
And Justin Reed.
And if Justin Reed calls in, he's definitely not going to get a gift card.
Combine them all. We'll take a timeout. What would you say? One more? Okay, one more and then break. Okay, one more and then break. Let's go to
clock management. Not our skill.
Should we time out? Do we not? Just play it. Just keep playing. Just go. Let's hear from. Let's see. Logan is next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's keep the good vibes going. Logan, what side do you want to start with? Sports or leisure?
All right, what do we got left on sports?
So we've got general NFL, plenty of those. We've got one college basketball question, one college football, and a couple Chiefs and Bengals.
Let's go Chiefs-Bengals.
All right. He was much better running the ball than running his mouth while talking about who was running it. This former Chief left KC for the Queen City, playing only 7 games for the Bengals. He carried the ball just 52 more times in his career after leaving KC.
Larry Johnson.
That is right. Larry, did you like my running it? The GM
I did.
Running it. What are you confused about there, Josh?
I'm pulling up Larry Johnson's Football Reference page here real quick to continue to dive down the rabbit hole.
Did you not realize he played for the Bengals?
I have zero memory whatsoever. I remember Miami.
He played that same
where
year.
He took one carry.
The Chiefs released him. He went to Cincinnati.
2009 was
to the Bengals.
Was a trip
from here.
That is unbelievable.
And he was let go by the GM Rendon. All right, over on leisure.
You got a category you like here? The books, the spelling, the puns, the Ohio.
Let's go spelling bee.
All right. This time, I'd like for you to go ahead and just do me a little favor and spell the word liaison.
Liaison. Leason.
Oh, that is incorrect. Logan, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it, sir. 913-381-810-810.
High degree of difficulty on that one. I would have gotten this one wrong.
So with the spelling bee, are we leaving the words open as well to someone to call in and request liaison, or is that
I
one
think that
word?
seems reasonable.
Okay.
I don't know.
Just
The
making
general
sure that
rules of
that's fine.
Of engagement here.
I
I
didn't know-
honestly don't think we've had a whole lot of people get buzzed out on. No offense, Logan. I also would have gotten liaison wrong. But with the spelling bee category doesn't take a lot of people down with it usually.
It's true. We will take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling, continue playing some sports or leisure. 913-381-810-810. $25 to Johnny's Tavern on the line with sports or leisure. More Zone next.
Follow the show on Twitter at J810Anderson, at JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, and at Sports Radio 810. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
That's half of it, right?
That's half of it. We got a leisure question. You want to go Trivindiana, Marvel questions, spelling bee, or 4th grade U.S. history, or Beards' Game of Thrones question?
Those are serious categories?
Those are all serious questions. Yep. Only serious categories around here.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I will continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. LaDainian Tomlinson with the record for most consecutive seasons with 10 or more rushing touchdowns. With 9 straight years of at least 10, that would be all 9 years he played with the San Diego Chargers. He rushed for 10 or more touchdowns, and then played 2 more years with the Jets. In the non-Chargers? Was there a... Nope, I think just the Jets. Just the Jets for the next 2 years.
My old running back, older in their careers, running backs changing teams, I feel like every time there's one of those Twitter threads or someone says, hey, post a random athlete in a uniform that looks wrong, I love those because I frequently will just delete some of these from my memory because they were there for
Makes
legit
sense.
2 months.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
Right. He was there 2 years, turns out. But that was it.
But Larry Johnson was a Bengal for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Not a very long time in the grand scheme of things.
And it was the one you would probably remember most because it was right after the Chiefs.
Right, it was
Then
directly
went
Chiefs
to
adjacent. Yeah.
Cincinnati, as opposed to out of sight, out of mind, Jamal Charles is the guy now.
But looking at pictures of Larry Johnson in a Bengals uniform is just still incredibly strange.
Yeah.
I even got over the Jamal Charles ones, the Jags and Broncos.
I'm not going to get over the Jamal Charles one. 913-381-810. Let's go to Andrew next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB, playing a little sports or leisure. Andrew, what side do you want to start with, sir?
Oh, let's go Chiefs-Bengals.
Chiefs-Bengals. Okay, we got one more left of Chiefs-Bengals. I might be able to come up with a couple of more questions, but one more.
I got one for you, too, I think.
Oh, cool. Great. Maybe it's this one. Who knows?
Let's find out.
Playing his career for the Texans, Chiefs, and Cardinals, he finished his last 4 years in the NFL in Cincinnati as a swing tackle. He started every game for the Chiefs at tackle in his lone season here in KC, while blocking for 2 different starting quarterbacks that year. He also thinks some Chiefs fans are sickening and disgusting.
Oh man. From booing Castle, or when they cheered for Castle getting hurt. What was his name?
This would have been a tougher one to figure out, except for the sickening, and I had to include that.
I seriously was looking up the other one, so I missed the first half of your clue, and then I checked back in. It's sickening and disgusting. I was like, I got this one.
I'll give it again.
I got this one from there.
Playing his career for the Texans, Chiefs, and Cardinals, finished his last 4 years in Cincinnati as a swing tackle. He started every game for the Chiefs at tackle in his one season here in KC while blocking for 2 different quarterbacks that year. That's pretty generic, except for the fact that he thinks some Chiefs fans are sickening and disgusting.
God.
Could have said that he was like the union.
That's what I was thinking.
President as
like,
the player.
That's right.
Player
Yeah,
representative.
it was like.
Back in the day, you could probably get his last name.
Fisher's in my head, but it's not
no.
Fisher.
Back in the day, you could probably get his last name as a pack of smokes, right?
Marlboro.
No, he's not the Marlboro Man.
Yep.
Oh, Eric Winston.
Yeah, there you go. How about that?
Eric Camel. Good job.
You nailed it, man. Eric Winston is correct. I realized last night that he played for the Bengals, so
didn't know
he's
that.
got that going for him. All right, on to the leisure side with Josh.
We got the pun name game. We've got the books of give you the iconic book. You give us the author. The commonly misspelled word spelling bee and Ohio trivia.
Let's do pun name game.
Oh, let's do it. This future Hall of Fame quarterback has had a rough season so far up north, and he's currently starting to get old fast, but at least he's younger than this Hall of Fame baseball player who was born in 1896 and went on to play for the St. Louis Cardinals, New York Giants, Boston Braves, Chicago Cubs, and St. Louis Browns over the course of a 23-year career.
That feels like a layup, Andrew. By the way, that's not a hint, though.
That was not a hint.
I'm just saying, like, that feels like an easy one.
I'm glad you got that one so quick.
Well,
once you said baseball player after,
yeah, that's what I'm
QB,
getting.
That was good.
Aaron Rodgers. I mean, say it again. please?
Yes.
Well, since you asked nicely.
Why don't you just say
the baseball part, because you're on the right track there. He's younger than this Hall of Fame baseball player who was born in 1896 and went on to play for the St. Louis Cardinals, New York Giants, Boston Braves, Chicago Cubs, and St. Louis Browns over the course of a 23-year career.
23-year career.
Yeah, I don't think the hints are going to give it away as much as his first name being.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was thinking Aaron Rodgers Maris, but. But
that's not Aaron. That's not Aaron's last name, then, is it? Huh?
His last name isn't Roger. His name is.
This is one that I think Mick would approve of because this is very technical.
He can't not approve of this because this
think
is.
so.
It's not your Mahomes Depot one.
Exactly.
That was wrong.
Exactly. This is
Hank Aaron Rodgers.
Wow. No.
Well,
but that could have been. I mean,
if you reversed him,
if I flipped him and went hitter, I mean, I definitely could have done Hank Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe next time you do Hank Aaron Rodgers.
I might, but this is a pitcher born before the turn of the millennium, and not this one.
Gosh. Pitcher.
The order is the quarterback first, baseball player second. Mm-hmm. I will give you that much because
Aaron Rodgers. Man, I mean, he went deep.
Throw a dart.
Aaron Rodgers Murdoch.
Love it, Andrew. Andrew, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it, sir. You got Eric Winston, though. Thank you, man. 913-381-0810. It was not Roger Murdoch. In fact, it would need an S on that first name. Let's go to Crazy Joe Davola.
Hey, you tell your old man to drag Walton and Lanier up and down the court for 48 minutes and see how much energy he's have.
That's right.
Anyway. Can I have that question, please?
Yes, take it.
Aaron Rodgers Hornsby.
There it is.
Yes, the only person with the first name Rogers that I can think
Me too.
of.
That's how I got. That's how I created one.
Except for the Rogers Center, but that was first name the.
Right.
All right, on to the sports side. We've got NFL. I could probably think of a couple of other.
I got one more Chiefs Bengals
you got
one
a Chiefs
for you.
Bengals one for me. Okay. Yep. We've got one college football and one college basketball as well.
May I go the Bengals Chiefs crossover?
Well, then you know what? It's going to be leisure and sports with Josh. Apparently,
I just like this one. I think you will
sit back and listen. Now I can play along with you.
This former Kansas City Chief was drafted by the Chiefs in the 3rd round, no less, but ultimately he ended up spending the majority of his career as a member of the Cincinnati Bengals as a defensive back who struggled to see the field.
I know this one.
Oh, is it the dude from Notre Dame?
It is.
Kavari Russell.
Nice
Boom!
job.
Look at the poll.
It is. Nice job, Kavari Russell. Good pull.
I thought I might get somebody on that one.
Good pull.
Good work. That's a winner right there.
You're not getting Crazy Joe Davola.
No, Crazy Joe is ready for the...
All right, over to leisure with Josh.
And we go, now Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback who plays for the Green Bay Packers. Name the... Name one of the all-time home run leaders, and then make their names combined.
Back over. We need 2 leisures in one
We're gonna
sports
make
here.
You really work
We're
for
doing
this.
the, you know what it is? It's the pun name. So it's actually home run hitter, quarterback, pitcher. Aaron Rodgers Hornsby.
I'm going to see if I can do a Chiefs-Bengals pun name game before the end of the show.
Done. That's great.
I'll work on it.
Crazy Joe.
That's a win.
We're going to put you on hold.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Not so crazy to me.
Used to call me Crazy Joe. Now they can call me Batman. There is 0 chance you get that reference.
No.
And I mean 0 chance. I was picking up a piece of trash.
Your instinct is correct.
Mr. Clark, don't play. Mr. Clark, hurry! Somebody's beating up Kid Ray. All right, let's go to Ryan next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. If you look, you know what, Josh? If you need help, just lean on me, and I'll help you out along the way. Ryan, sports or leisure?
I
Which
wish I
side
knew
you
what
want
that
to start
was
with?
from.
Yeah, you don't.
We'll start with spelling bee.
Oh, okay. Spell the word. Well, I guess liaison is out there if you want that one. Otherwise, I've got a different one for you.
I'll take liaison.
Okay.
Liaison.
Confident, ice in his veins.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
All right, on to the sports side, sir. We've got NFL. We have a college football, a college basketball, and then I could probably come up with another Chiefs Bengals one. That's not very
We'll do the Chiefs Bengals.
Okay, so he played for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
No. Son of a gun. He played for the. Are you on Twitter by any chance?
Very rarely.
That's fine. You don't. It doesn't matter. I don't even know why I've asked that. It shouldn't matter. All right. So he played for the Chiefs and Bengals, obviously, because that's the category. Nicknamed, I believe, the Big Freeze. He is very active on Twitter, talking Chiefs and Bengals, and in a Chiefs uniform, he had some issues with his ball skills as a defensive lineman.
I like this one.
Say it again.
I can't say it again because I just made it up on the fly. Playing for the Chiefs and Bengals. He's active on Twitter, talking about both Chiefs and the Bengals. Played defensive line, and Chiefs fans may remember him for some controversial ball skills that he took part in.
I do remember that.
Was his nickname like the Freeze or the Big Freeze or something like that?
I do think he had a nickname, but I remember more of the
That's what's from.
You remember more
extracurricular
of the
nicknames?
giving him the business?
Yeah.
We're number 90.
I have no idea.
It's a good one, Jason. I
Thank
like
you.
this one.
I appreciate it.
It's a worthy loss. You can not hang your head, but somebody else is excited about
And he's
that.
from Wichita.
I also just saw that.
I didn't
on his
realize he was from
Football Reference
Wichita
page.
this whole time. Awesome. Went to Butler Community College before he went to South Carolina.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
How about that?
Stop.
So there. Ryan, do you have a guess?
The only person that's coming to mind is because he was perfect, but he's not D-line.
Yeah. No. You done, Ryan? X'd out? Back at it? All right. Ryan, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. I thought
Good effort, Ryan.
I thought I heard him saying the name in the background. That's why I was like, oh, wait, maybe he got it maybe he just happened to know that, this guy's from Wichita, Butler,
Yeah.
South Carolina.
I didn't know. I didn't know that he went to Butler.
Yeah, was he drafted by the Bengals? Oh,
He played
was
at a lot of places.
UDFA.
No kidding.
Yeah. How about that? I guess.
Well, I'm excited for somebody to call in and ask you to repeat that one again, and
Yeah, let's
you'll
do
just be
it.
able to read it off the paper
Cool.
because it was all pre-written.
I could probably think of another one, too.
prepared it.
Chuck, go right ahead, sir. What side do you want to start with? Is it the sports side or is it the leisure side for you, Chuck?
Let's go with leisure.
Ooh, do you have a category in mind?
Spelling bee is always fun.
All right. I would like for you to spell for us the word surveillance.
Surveillance, like surveillance camera kind of stuff?
Correct. Yes.
SURVEILLANCE.
I mean, I feel like I would have bailed on that like 3 different times. I had to double check the double L's. That felt wrong. We got better spellers in this audience than I ever imagined.
Just because they're better than you doesn't make them. Well, you know what? That's fine. They are better spellers than you.
For
Chuck,
sure.
on
Better
to
than
the,
me, period, I guess.
On to the sports side, we've got NFL, we've got a college football, we've got a college basketball, and we've got one question out there for Chiefs and Bengals and one other one that I could probably come up with.
Well, in honor of the undefeated Missouri Tigers, let's go college basketball.
Okay, very good. I love it. This is a team that wears black and gold, but it's Iowa. Chris Murray, Keegan Murray's brother, Chris Murray went off for a career-high 31 points while grabbing 20 rebounds and knocking in 4 threes in one game. He became the first major college player to score 30, grab 20 rebounds, and make at least 4 3-pointers in a game since who? And by the way, Missouri played against him. Not in the game that this guy did that, but did play against him.
Okay, you
when
lost
this
me
guy
a little
played.
bit. Sorry.
Sorry.
Chris Murray scored 30,
Yeah, so
20
he had,
rebounds.
it's just
first guy since when?
So 30 points, 20 rebounds, at least 4 3-pointers in a game. First major college player to do that since which player? So who's the last major college player to do that? 30, 20, and at least 4 3-pointers in a game. Missouri did play against him, not the game that he did that. They also played against him when they were in a different conference. You know, Kansas and Kansas State would have played against him as well.
All right, it's a Big 12 player,
Mm-hmm.
maybe Big 8 even.
Nope.
Okay, Big 12.
Mm-hmm. Not at Kansas, Kansas State, or Missouri, because I said they all played against him.
Good point. Good point.
Mm-hmm. So now you're down to 9
4
teams.
threes in a game.
I just wanted to eliminate Michael Beasley because I figured somebody with 30 points, 20 rebounds would say, well, Michael Beasley, because his numbers at K-State were just video game at times. Like,
Well,
go
that's
back.
like making me think of Durant almost a little bit. He was crazy like that, too, back in the day.
He was crazy like that back in the day.
Let's go with Kevin Durant, I guess.
Well done. It was Kevin Durant that did that
Incredible.
back in 2007. Incredible. But you know what? You were on the right track anyway. So that is
That's a winner.
Absolutely. You got liaison and Kevin Durant. So
Surveillance
well done.
and Kevin Durant.
And surveillance too. So Chuck will put you on.
And also
I
Michael
surveil Kevin
Beasley.
Durant quite often.
That's right. You know what? I'm
Makes
going to need a
sense.
liaison to help me out as to who's winning and not. Chuck will put you on hold. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. 913-381-0810. That is another winner here. Yeah, it was Kevin Durant that did that, not Michael Beasley.
I am just absolutely scrubbing the internet for another Chiefs Bengals player so
Oh,
I
I
can
got
try to
one.
get one into a pun name game.
I have one that I just didn't think would be an easy one for. I thought the Dunlap, Larry Johnson, and Eric Winston one were the ones that people would get.
There's so many guys that I feel like should have played for the Bengals. Like it feels like Austin Ryder should have been a Bengal at some point, right?
I mean, I guess I'm not sure
I
what
think
that
that's
means.
just the arm tattoo talking.
Is that what it is?
I think that's all that is.
No, he was a Brown and a Saint, and he's a Dolphin now.
Not sure what that
I don't know.
means.
He played for the Browns. What it means is it's somebody who I thought might have played for the Bengals who actually played for the Browns.
Okay, that damned Ohio team.
Orange and
there.
a darker color. I don't know.
That's right. I could have done Cincinnati Bearcats. As
Wow,
well,
that
'cause
would have been
people
good.
People don't remember that Travis Kelce actually played at Cincinnati.
Did
People
he
don't-
really?
People don't remember that.
They never talk
He
about
was actually
that.
recruited as a quarterback.
Where does brother play?
For Xavier.
Okay,
It was in Cincinnati,
That
but
makes
not for Cincinnati. It was actually over at Xavier. They didn't have a football team, but he played center on the basketball team.
Ah, well, he's a lifelong center.
Let's go to Charles next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Charles, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Let's do leisure. Let's do the Ohio trivia.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Excellent.
Oh, excellent. Will this mystical toy help you tell the future? Don't count on it. Was it invented in Cincinnati? Signs point to yes. Will you know what it is? Ask again later.
Oh, wow. Can you run that by me one more time?
Sure. Will this this mystical toy help you tell the future? Don't count on it. Was it invented in Cincinnati? Signs point to yes. Will you know what it is? Ask again later.
Crystal ball? Or 8-ball?
Hey!
Okay.
We hope it. Close it out.
All right.
Yeah, the Magic 8 Ball was invented in Cincinnati.
It is
Who knew?
It is decidedly so that you can move on to sports.
Do you know that's a 20-sided die in there?
No kidding.
I know.
There are 20 answers?
I left the Wikipedia page for this open because I was so surprised by it. It's 10 positive ones, 5 neutral ones, and 5 negative ones. I learned a lot about the Magic 8 Ball earlier.
I know a lot about it. My wife actually did the Magic 8 Ball when I proposed. She's like, let me see what.
She looked at
Let's
it.
hold it up to fate.
Shake it again.
Jesus, take the wheel. It's in your hands now. All right, on to the sports side, sir. We've got Chiefs and Bengals. We've got a college football question left, and we got NFL.
Let's do general NFL.
General NFL, okay. Well, do you want a general NFL? I also have Chiefs specific, just NFL questions too, not Chiefs and Bengals.
Let's do Chiefs specific.
Very good. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. This one I wanted to do because it just happened this past weekend. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have hooked up 46 times now for a touchdown. That's now tied for the most touchdowns scored by a quarterback pass catcher in Chiefs history. What duo did the Chiefs tie? Or did Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce tie? This duo connected for 46 touchdowns. Mahomes and Kelce now have 46.
Well, the answer is a Chiefs-specific duo then, right?
Yep, absolutely. Quarterback, pass catcher.
Oh, boy.
I say pass catcher because Kelce's a tight end, even though this duo was a QB wide receiver. 46 times.
Wasn't Tony Gonzalez, Damon Heward or something?
You know, you would think, and it wasn't.
Really what I thought.
And also not Tony Gonzalez and Trent Green, because I just said it wasn't a tight end. So it was not Sylvester Morris, and it was not Jonathan Baldwin.
Later than like early 2000s then?
Oh, well before that.
Well before that?
Oh, well before that, yeah. I mean, it's the best quarterback wide receiver combo out, not named Tyreek Hill.
Oh, crap. I can't think of the quarterback, but Tony Gonzalez is one of the answers, right?
Nope. This guy's not a tight end.
Not a tight end, yep.
Oh, I'm not a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Well before that.
Mm-hmm. Also won a Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
One of the more famous highlights for the Chiefs.
Oh, Lynn Dawson, Otis Taylor.
Hey, nice job. There you go. See, you didn't even need
go.
help. Lynn Dawson, Otis Taylor, and now Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. And I'm assuming on Sunday they will surpass Lynn Dawson
I hope so.
and Otis Taylor. So if I didn't ask it this week, I might have been able to ask it next week. Charles, but we can put you on hold and get your information because that's a winner, right? That's absolutely
Cool.
right. Yeah. Thank you.
Signs
Charles.
point to
Appreciate
yes.
it. That's right. He did have the magic 8 ball.
Sorry, I had to get the page back open before I got my funny answer.
Maybe I had an 8 ball because I couldn't. I'm out of it. I don't know. So yeah, Lynn Dawson and Otis Taylor. The answers to that one. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, wrap up the show, and continue as we head up till 2 o'clock. The program with Ren Petro comes your way. We'll give you an update on the soccer matches with Spain and Germany, both leading 1-0. Hey, we just did that. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next.
Take the show with you by listening live on 810WHB.com, in the 810 mobile app, or by subscribing to The Zone wherever you get your podcasts. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Get off me! Get off me! I'm like, can't move.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, so the chief and Bengal that had the ball skills, that would be Sean Smith.
A great one.
Sean Smith. I think that's the only one we did not get an answer to.
I think you're right.
Lynn Dawson, Otis Taylor. All right. Any on the leisure side that were out there?
We're all good. Liaison got spelled. Rogers Hornsby was remembered, and we all made it.
There we go. All made it.
You think Matt Nagy's still sweating?
Man. I would like to be a fly on the wall to the Matt Nagy and Andy Reid conversation if there was one. I don't know. He just sounded nervous. Just sounded nervous and uncomfortable answering the questions about giving Patrick Mahomes all the plays that they were going to go over the next day when he met with Andy Reid.
You know what I said about the most devastating phrase in taunting?
What's that?
Scoreboard. Matt Nagy won.
He's right. Take that, Andy Reid. Program next.